whole thing down. I'm going to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's going to be biblical.
Patriots Across the Pond, Ep7, I believe, isn't it?
Yes.
And we've decided to just go live now because it's 20 minutes early for us in the UK and 40 minutes late for you over there, I believe, because we have changed our clocks in the UK and you haven't done yours yet till this weekend coming. So you and I are an hour out of sync.
Yes. And hopefully with that supposed executive order, I'm still hoping that there's hope. We still have another day, 2 days. Maybe they'll decide not to turn the clocks back. We have to see, right?
Well, that would be great. Now, just thinking about this, right now, we've got the marathon tomorrow. I need to make sure my times are exactly right and they're not an hour out, because it would be 5 hours. It'd be 6 now, so
6 hours. Yeah.
So it's 6 hours. So if you're starting at 11, that'll be 5. I don't want to be late. I might have to sit here early anyway. I'll be monitoring the situation, but yeah, that's cool. So how are you? All good?
I'm good. And you just reminded me with this marathon, for anyone who doesn't know, we're doing a marathon tomorrow. It's kind of a coordinated effort between Louis Herms, who's running for governor of California, and Mel Carmine, the producer, writer, director of Dear Mr. President. And we're going to have all the podcasters and then some join us for this live 7-hour event. And got to remember, like you just said, Stu, the clock change happened in the UK and not the US. And we have a number of podcasters from the UK. So we have to, you just made me make a note that I wanted to reminder.
Right, I've just found a screenshot for that. So there it is. These are all the people that are going to be on. Louis Herms, Mel, Bruce Poppy, Carol, Christine Geiger and Lisa are hosting. And we've got Malcat with Jason Q, Brad Olsen, Michelle Xiao, I hope I pronounced it right, Light Warrior Patriot, Tom Althouse, David Mahoney, Jesse, Laura Eisenhower, Josh Reed, Melissa Redpill, yours truly, Janine Morrigo, Joe Rizzotti, Scott, Lisa Sherman-Horn, Phil Tawney, Kevin Pascoe, I can't see, Dr. Layla Ali, is it Mike Barra, Dylan Lewis Monroe, hold up a minute, Juan Partain and Nancy Addison.
Yes.
And that is your time, Eastern, 11 a.m. till 6, is it?
6 a.m. Eastern.
Okay. So I need to find the times here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Get 10 minutes each, I think. So I need to speak like that. Get it all in, really. Yeah.
So how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I've sort of, it's been a decent week of news, but not, oh my God, have you heard what's happened? Even though everything's, so much is happening all the time. Yeah. So I've got a bit of scribble written down and all that. I've saved some videos and screenshots and stuff we can just talk through. I've got lots going on, just busy doing all this stuff, and I'm trying to build a website now.
Oh, wow.
with some help, obviously. But we're doing some things, and I have got myself 2 domain names now that I own. So that's stewsnews.uk and stewsnews17.com. So they only cost me a few quid each. So I thought I'd bagsy those. Stewsnews.com had gone, but I've looked at that site and it's okay. But
Very cool.
So that's good. So that's what I'm doing. And just keeping an eye on the news, going to the gym, trying to stay as fit as possible whilst puffing on my vape. But yeah, keeping my eyes on it all. Good. Is your gardener there today? What's that? Is your gardener there today?
No, because it's raining, so we lucked out. I mean, it's a pretty gross, windy day, but at least it's quiet.
Good. Okay. I couldn't hear that.
I know we always get hit with that during this time.
Yeah.
Well, so, yeah.
Do you want? Well, you can start if you like. I don't really mind.
Well, I have to tell you, you said there's like, there's a lot going on, but yet there's not nothing crazy. But I have to tell you, I feel one of the most significant things, and it is huge, but of course it's not getting the recognition it needs to because it's kind of behind the scenes, is this whole construction at the White House. And, I know there's a lot of people out there. Well, first of all, there's the whole controversy, the ridiculous, left controversy, how he's changing the White House and he's doing all this kind of stuff, and nobody, like no other president,
the White House
decorated or changed. That's like the first on the surface thing that we know. However, there are so many people, normies like, oh, he's redecorating and this and that. And by the way, everything is not being paid for by the American people because he did raise money, and a lot of it is being paid for by Trump himself to do this. But what is so significant about this is that this is not about a redecoration. This is literally about changing the frequency, pulling ourselves out of the satanic ley lines that have been, part of the White House for so long. And if everybody only knew what was really going on and how those frequencies were changed, they just can't possibly imagine the significance that this holds.
Exactly that. I did make a post on my Facebook about you do not know what satanic things were going on in that bit. And that White House has had so many renovations over the years. Of course, the Democrats and the mainstream media and whatever celebrities left and on the wrong side with TDS are pushing out he's destroying the White House and our heritage and all this crap. But I'm glad you brought that up, because Rambo Dave and Patrick did a brilliant little 3 minutes about this. This is amazing. And like I say to people, Trump is the master troll, and we are watching a movie. Check this out.
Okay.
Did you see the White House renovation page?
Go ahead, you got it.
Oh, dude, hold on. So they put up, you can go to like whitehouse.gov/renovation, as it takes you to this about the White House, right? And it's showing you the timeline for building the ballroom. You can see all this stuff right here. Then if you scroll down, it's got a major events timeline of the White House, right? So it starts in 1791 to 1800, designing plans commence. I'm not going to read all this. 1814 to 1824, the rebuilding after the War of 1812. 1824, the addition of the South Portico. 1830, the addition of the North Portico. 1902, the addition of the West Wing. 1909, the Oval Office. 1913, the Rose Garden. 1942, the East Wing. 1952, total reconstruction. 1973, addition of the briefing room. Now we go from 1973 to 1998, the Bill Clinton scandal. Oh, it gets better. It gets better. Bill Clinton's affair with intern Monica Lewinsky was exposed, leading to White House perjury investigations. Hold on, they're not done. Now we skip to 2012. The Muslim Brotherhood visits the White House. Obama hosts members of the Muslim Brotherhood, a group that promotes Islamic extremism and has ties to Hamas. The Muslim Brotherhood is designated as a terrorist organization by nearly a dozen nations.
My God.
Right? Then we go to 2020, and First Lady Melania Trump, overhauled the tennis pavilion. Then we jump ahead to 2023, cocaine discovered in the White House.
Oh my God.
Right? During Biden's administration, a U.S. Secret Service agent discovered a small zippered bag containing cocaine in the West Wing entrance lobby. Speculation has pointed to Hunter Biden, an admitted drug user. Additional evidence includes a laptop seized in 2019, which contains photos of frequent drug use alongside emails about foreign business dealings, Ukraine and China, involving his father while he was vice president. Guys, this is on whitehouse.gov.
You need any more evidence that you're watching a movie?
Right. Hold on, I'm not done yet. It keeps going. 2023 Trans Day of Visibility. The Biden administration hosts transsexuals at the White House in 2023 and goes on to establish the Transgender Day of Visibility on the same day as Easter Sunday in 2024.
And then
we get to the flagpoles,
good stuff.
the Rose Garden.
Renovations, East Wing. This man has no shame.
It's absolutely the most epic level of trolling you could ever possibly see.
Oh my gosh.
In your life.
We haven't seen.
Yeah, that's so brilliant. It's so brilliant. I love but I just want to read something, and I think you've read this too, and it's been out there, but this is according to JFK Jr., which is the official JFK Jr. 926 I think it's Telegram, if I'm not mistaken. So the real reason leftists were so upset the West Wing of the White House was being demolished was because for centuries, the White House, built by slaves, has acted as keystone to their money supply network, the Khazarian Mafia bankers, Vatican, London, DC triad. The independently owned by foreign bankers Khazarian city of Washington, DC, had been laid out in a Masonic pentagram designed to feed an invisible hierarchy of power. The White House ballroom was built at a deliberate angle, engineered on a ley line current that linked the Washington Monument, Capitol, and IRS. For over 2 centuries, the geometry itself functioned as a living circuit of control, binding the minds of millions in frequencies of subservience. What's happening beneath the White House was not renovation. It was the demolition of a 200-year ritual machine. Trump's new ballroom cut through the southern energy channel of that pentagram, shattering the field that sustained the Freemason lattice. Space Force engineers and Q-linked military architects designed the foundation of the new ballroom as a quantum firewall lined with mu metal, 0-point Tesla arrays, and frequency shields tuned to Earth's natural harmonics. Beneath it, a new command core hums an independent QFS node disconnected from every known banking overlay. Since construction began, DC's underground sensors have gone wild. Electromagnetic fluctuations, radar interference, and inexplicable wildlife shifts around the eclipse confirm the rupture. Masonic lodges have gone dark, 3 canceled rituals, the Scottish Rite building closed its doors. The Pentagon's inner lodge stopped logging floor access. The power that once flowed through the city's geometric veins was gone, the grid silent. By realigning the White House within the natural magnetic field, the frequency of the entire Capitol changed. The control lattice that fed off trauma and ritual has been severed. The obelisk no longer transmitted. What rises in its place was a quantum fortress, a living structure broadcasting sovereignty instead of submission, freedom instead of fear. The Vatican, London, DC triad has lost its keystone. Their geometry has collapsed. Their frequency no longer holds. The age of ritual control was over, and the Republic, once enslaved by symbols, has been taking its power back. The president returned, and the spell was broken.
Yes, there's lots of things being changed, isn't there? And can you send me the link on Telegram to that JFK Jr. channel you follow, because there are so many channels claiming to be him. I used to follow one on Twitter, I think, and the handle was HS Retoucher. Remember that? And I think that was one of the main ones. I mean, obviously followed Vincent Kennedy and, you know, many others. But it's, you know, even though the information is superb, we don't know who's who, do we? So
we don't. But the point is that we have to assume, right? We can make the assumption that these changes, right? These spiritual and frequency changes are significant, and that if we're being told that and it's coming through, you know, someone knows what's going on. So I don't know if this channel is like official or what, but the information certainly makes sense, and certainly, again, like, how many coincidences can there be, you know?
Do you think Telegram was created by the White Hats or whoever on our side because they knew they were going to, and we can, you know, go into who shuts down the White Ants doing the censorship and things like that, but as a platform ready for us? Because there's one little thing on Telegram that always makes me chuckle, is the fact that every other platform you can watch things at 1.25 speed, 1.5 speed, 1.75, 2 times speed, etc. But on Telegram, you can watch things at 1.25 speed, 1.5 speed, and then it's 1.7 speed, which is what I watch everything on. Did you know that?
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've all heard rumors and people that have been involved and, you know, potentially involved in creating the platform. And I would say that, you know, I'd lean towards that idea. There's probably a white hat. I mean, I don't personally know anyone who is ever censored on Telegram. Do you?
No, but a lot of people in the UK, because you know there's two. Do you know there's 2 different Telegrams?
Yes, they have like slightly different
Right, let me just try and find it, because this will be interesting for people.
Is that the one like that one is sort of Google run or
right?
Yeah.
Those there.
Yeah.
That one on the left, right, is especially people with iPhones, and some people that go through the Play Store. If you download these as an app, right, a lot of the times, if you've got an iPhone and stuff, you get this one on the left. Now that is censored Telegram. This one on the right is not. But I'd say to people that anyone who's got this on their phone, because anyone that's got this on their phone cannot view Tommy Robinson News in the UK, right? So I tell people to go to the web browser, telegram.web or telegram.org, I think it is. Either 2 work, I think, and re-download, and then obviously save that to your home screen. Don't use the App Store, and then you get the uncensored one. But the one on the right is the one you want.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
Yeah, good. That's interesting, because I've know a lot of people that have had those issues in the past. Interesting. It's all interesting stuff, isn't it? How much we have actually been censored. But we are less and less censored every day. Even on Facebook, I'm getting away with much more stuff. I get the occasional music copyright. Your video is muted in certain areas, and
I get that on YouTube a lot.
Yeah, so do I. Now we're back on there. You got exactly the same one as I did, didn't I? Patriots Across The Pond 6. We both got a strike for or something, didn't we? Or a warning.
Yeah. We were demonetized. We can't be monetized.
Oh, yeah. I don't care about YouTube anyway. I know, you know, people like Nino want to stay on there and things like that. And it's good, because if you can get to a wider audience, definitely do it. But there's no way I want to be playing mind games all the time. Oh, you can't say that, and don't use that word, and don't use that word. I just want to speak from the art and get it.
And we're all using hand signals, and yeah, exactly.
You know, I told you about that video I did, didn't I? The fact that I don't know if I did it on there. I did a video on TikTok about all those things that tested positive for CV-19. dog, cat, sheep, bird, tiger, aftershave, poor fruit, kiwi fruit. I had a long list like that. Did a video for TikTok, uploaded it, got loads of views. I took it down. So I redid it I wrote all the words down of everything I said, right? That, CV19 and any words that I couldn't, would be censored.
Yeah.
And I did it again. So everything that tested positive for, and I went through the whole thing and uploaded it again, or watched the video. When I watched the video, because my webcam is on mirror, all the words were back to front. So I had to redo it again, write all the words in my computer, flip them on its axis, so all the words look backwards. I've got them all over there somewhere. And then do it again 3 times. It took me about 4 hours to do one 5-minute video.
Oh my gosh.
But there you go. We adapt and overcome, don't we? Got to do it. But yeah, we're getting much more information out there now, because so much more is coming out. D-Class is coming out all the time, isn't it? I know it's too slow for some people, the impatience and the panic hands and black pillars and stuff like that. But like I say, if you're paying attention to the mainstream media and watching what they're telling you about Trump in the ballroom, you're either in a state of fear or panic or being led down the wrong path. Whereas if you watch that 3-minute clip from David Rambo, we're all comfy AF and we're laughing our socks off about it.
Yep.
And it's amazing. And this is why I continue to watch so much stuff, because I trust, I have faith in this plan unfolding, however it's going to unfold.
And the thing is, it's so, it's so predictable for us, because we were told what was going to happen, right? And now we're seeing it. And, it may not be specifically like the way or the order or, but it's all happening. And that just it gives us all a chuckle. So you have to wonder, that there was a reason for that. Obviously, a certain amount of the population, right? They wanted them to be a little more awake than the rest, right? Because a lot of everybody's on a different timeline, So, but you just can't make this up. There's no way you can make this up, the way it's all unfolding. And, if everywhere you look, every direction, there's something that's unfolding that is like, oh, wow. Yeah, we heard about this. We knew this was going to happen, and here it is, and here it's coming. And yes, and that does increase the faith that we have. But I don't know. I wanted to talk to you about something. I know we have a lot of things we want to talk about, but have you felt like I have felt in the last, I would say week, 5 days, maybe week. I'm going to say week, at least a week. I just feel so intense. I have like such intensity of emotions. I'm either really angry or I'm.
This is what happens. You need to go with me on this.
Hang on.
The math checks
Sorry.
On October.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. That just started. Go on. Sorry, you saying
okay.
You feel.
Yeah, and I'm just having this intensity of emotions, like either intensely sad, intensely angry, just feeling like off, not quite on. I've been, haven't felt well. Like my throat chakra is just, I'm feeling like I'm processing a lot, and then things are just coming out. Like there's just no holds bar in the way I'm expressing myself lately. And I don't just mean like aggressively or nasty, just honest, just honest stuff that I've either felt for a long time or there's clarity. And I don't know. I know like the Schumann resonance has been kind of crazy lately. But I just was wondering, and these last few days, the only word I could describe myself is cranky. I am so cranky, annoyed. People are getting on my nerves. I went from last week when we were chatting about all lovey-dovey for the normies and we have to help them, to this week being so pissed off at people that I'm interacting with, and I'll tell you what really annoys me. Like, we have been saying things for so long, right? In our own way, in the way we are trying to let people know what's really going on and fill them in. And then there's like a couple little things that come out, on the mainstream that these people watch. And then all of a sudden they're the experts on it. And I don't know if that annoys you, but that like totally annoys me. Like all of a sudden, like, especially when it comes to XRP. Like we've all been talking about this for a long time. Most of us have never spoken about it, at least in the last like number of years, right? As just another crypto. We've never approached it that way. We know that there's much more to it and what it's going to be used for and the value of it. And then all of a sudden, like I'm hearing people act like they know more about this because somebody on Google is talking about it. And I don't know why that makes me so annoyed and angry, but it's like a personal affront because now you're going to act like you know more than me when I've been trying to get you to, look at this and take it seriously. And then all of a sudden, like now, because somebody who I don't even know who this person is, some person who's an investor and has, this channel, and it's not people from our community, that have done deep dives and who have been talking about XRP for so many years. It's like some guy, okay, God bless him, but I just get so angry. I get so angry about it. I'm like, I've been telling you this for like 3 years, and all of a sudden some person that you see on Google says it's a good investment, and now all of a sudden it's validated. And why should that bother me? I shouldn't really give a shit, but I do. And it gets me so angry. And I'm just trying to like do everything I can to bring my anger down. I don't know if you're experiencing this.
No, I'm not experiencing any of that because I don't get myself in a situation where I have to engage with people about these things. Right? If someone's talking shit online, right, I just turn them off. I've honed the people I listen to over years now.
What about friends? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the problem I'm having. Like, I talked to some people in our community, Awakened community, who are like, you got to just cut people off if their energy is not with, resonating with yours and there's a toxicity. And obviously it is toxic if it's making you feel uneasy, right? But how do you do that? But at the same time, I'm like, I feel like I have less and less in common with anybody in what I would say my old life. And what do you do?
Totally. Well, you don't cut them off, but you just don't get involved. It's like, I don't want to watch sport anymore. I don't want to watch anything. I haven't watched my TV for 3 years, right? Cancel my TV license. I don't need it. I don't use it. I don't want to watch Hollywood films in case they're full of serpents. I don't engage in any of this stuff. I do my research. I talk to you. I talk to like-minded individuals. I have enough people talking to me. WhatsApp video calling. That kept a lot of us going through COVID and stuff, talking to people all around the world. And I have, even though I've got hundreds and hundreds of friends, you still, you don't hide away and isolate yourself more. But when I'm in the gym, I'm surrounded by people, but I've red pilled the fuck out of all of those. I've got a mate down the gym. He's heavily into Bitcoin and stuff, and he constantly berates XRP, right? Really? But I'm just like, let's see what happens. Do you know what I mean? It's like betting on a horse race, right? With 100 horses in it. I've picked 10 horses, right? Bit of gold, bit of silver, bit of XRP, bit of XLM, I've got a little bit of Bitcoin, all these sorts of things. And I'm sitting on it and I'm going to see what happens. And at the end of the day, right, if all of it went to nothing, but the truth came out, right, everyone got arrested who we wanted to see get arrested, and we had some sort of redistribution of wealth with Nasara Jasara, I would be a rich man anyway.
Right.
And we all would be rich at heart. We'd be moving into that golden age where we wouldn't have to be working all this time. And I'm quite lucky at the moment, that I don't have to work right at the moment. But my day revolves around, at the moment, eating well, keeping myself fit, going out, doing things, gym, research, building a website. I'm constantly busy and I don't get involved in negativity anywhere. It's so easy for me to I said to you, didn't I, that I've been cutting my own hair for 5 years because I don't want to get my hair cut because I couldn't imagine talking right about the weather for 30 minutes. Right? I don't want to do that.
So do you think, remember when like a lot of people were saying a few years ago how this kind of new earth and, you know, people are going to be left behind? Maybe that was a very literal way of interpreting it. I don't know. But it feels like this is that split. Because everything it's like you. I have to interact to a certain degree only because my day job is being a coach, you know. I'm involved in still the normie world and interacting with professionals, you know, where I'm able to help their clients and there's referral systems. But for the most part, I feel my energy so drained when I'm in those circles. It's so drained. Then I move into anger. Then I'm in frustration and I have to detox. Like I literally mentally and spiritually have to detox. I have to meditate to release all that. And it just feels a little more intense the last week or so. And I don't know if it's just a giant purge. Then I got sick, you know, or as I like to say, I started healing. And it was all like in my throat, you know, it's just like this throat thing. And
lots of us have had it over here. You
What's
know,
that?
lots of us have been ill over here. It's that time of year.
Yeah, I mean, is it that time of year or is it, I mean, yes. Is it sort of like ironically the season, you know, especially the people that experience the seasons, you know, the weather changes? Is it like things are starting to die and go dormant? And is that sort of also a metaphor for what happens to us in those times? Like certain things go dormant and certain, I don't know, but it just feels like I'm leaving a lot of people behind because the energy just doesn't work for me anymore. It's not a judgment. It's just where I'm at, you know?
COVID, everyone found their tribe. Everyone found out who everyone was and everyone did that on their own. I mean, look, I've been quite lucky. Since COVID started, I was furloughed, right? So we had sort of like government payments to keep ourselves going while we were locked down and all that sort of stuff. People that didn't do any accounting or anything like that had to sit in a taxi. I was working for a taxi firm at the time. They'd sit in there all day. There wasn't hardly any customers and all these sorts of things. And I had to go through that. So when I was furloughed, I was out. I was cycling for 4, 5, 6 hours a day on my own in the country. There was no chemtrails in the sky. It was beautiful, beautiful weather. Then when we all had to go back to work, I spent the whole time battling everyone about, you know, I was getting called into the office. Will you please just wear a mask? No, not doing it. I never, ever put one on my face. I never buckled, right, to any of it. I was not kneeling down to any of their tyranny. I haven't been on holiday since COVID started. I've had 4 camping trips at Awaken festivals where you go to. I think it's 4. But I will never, ever go anywhere. The fact that, oh, you need to wear a mask to do this and all that. I'm not doing it. I'm not putting myself in that position. So I just stood up all the way through it. Then I got myself a little building job for a year, and that was brilliant. We were having a laugh all the time, and I was just rippling them guys all day long. You know, I was doing my TikToks in the morning on the van on the way there and stuff like that till that account got shut down. And since Christmas, I haven't worked, because the company I was working for, he sort of went bust or whatever happened, and the few guys he had left working for him. But my mum passed away, didn't she? So I got a little bit of inheritance from that. And as long as I'm not extravagant with anything like that, and, you know, I just take it day by day by day. I'm doing what I love now, anyway, you know. And I'm doing this and waking people up. And I just want to say, because when you say something, I think, I've got another video for that. Now, that is quite interesting, because don't forget as well, the first Q drop, 8-year Delta, was 2 days ago. But that Q drop said, Hillary Clinton will be arrested. And it did say on the Monday morning, I think, but it said October the 30th, right? So I'm not going to say Hillary's going to get arrested today, and I would never do that. But if that happens, or we see any sort of information about that. Won't that be a beautiful thing? But this guy here, he's speaking for about 4 or 5 minutes. Is that all right?
Yeah, of course.
Haven't we? Yeah. So this is just quite interesting.
Okay, this is going to sound insane, but you need you to go with me on this because the math checks out. On October 30th, 2025, 6.2 billion people are going to experience a cosmic consciousness shift simultaneously, and I can prove it with simple math. First, you need to know about the Earth's heartbeat, the Schumann resonance, 7.83 hertz. That's the frequency that the Earth vibrates at. Here's the crazy part. When you are in a deep meditative state, your brain literally syncs with 7.83 hertz. We are literally synced to the Earth's frequencies. But on October 30th, something unprecedented is about to happen. 3 massive events are converging. Number 1, the sun is at its solar maximum, the most active it's been in 20 years. Solar flares, magnetic pole reversals, the works. Number 2, an interstellar object called 3I Atlas reaches its closest point to the sun that exact day. We're talking about a city-sized object from another star system. And number 3, the Earth's magnetic field is at its absolute weakest point in the cycle. Here's where the math gets wild. When these 3 things hit at once, the Earth's frequency of 7.83 hertz could be amplified 10 times or more. So instead of 7.83 hertz, you're looking at 78 hertz hitting your brain. Your brain will have no choice but to sync up. That's just how basic entrainment works. It's neuroscience. Here's the math that'll blow your mind. Research shows that you need a square root of 1% of the population to create global change. For 8 billion people, that's 90,000 minds synchronizing at the same time. But with this electromagnetic disruption, we're looking at 2 billion people syncing up simultaneously. That's 22,000 times what we need for critical mass. The mathematics of consciousness says that this will create a global field effect. Your normal consciousness operates at about a 20 hertz normal bandwidth. That's your everyday beta brainwaves. But when Earth's frequency explodes, your brain goes to 100 hertz bandwidth or more. That means you'll access gamma waves, 40 hertz to 100 hertz, which is the frequency associated with higher consciousness, enlightenment, and even psychic abilities. So let's break down the numbers. 6.2 billion people, that's 76% of humanity, will be affected by this electromagnetic shift. Of those, about 365 million have natural electromagnetic sensitivities like me. And roughly 43 million people are predicted to achieve a genuine transcendent state during the peak hours. This isn't woo-woo stuff. This is just math based on electromagnetic fields affecting human consciousness. The peak moment happens exactly at 11:44 a.m. Universal Time on October 30th, 2025. That's when the interstellar object reaches its closest point to the sun, but the effects will build for hours before and hours after. From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Universal Time, you're looking at 12 hours of peak electromagnetic disruption. Fair warning, technology is going to have a bad day. GPS systems could be down for 12 plus hours. Power grids will be super stressed. Communication networks will be disrupted. But here's the trade-off. While technology fails, human consciousness soars. It's almost as if the universe is telling us to disconnect from our devices and reconnect with each other and our inner awareness. So how do you prepare for this? Start meditating daily. Even just 10 minutes will help entrain your brain and adapt to frequency changes. Spend time in nature. It helps ground your electromagnetic system. Stock up on essentials in case technology fails for the day. And most importantly, tell people about this. The more people who are prepared, the smoother the transition will be. Look, I know this sounds crazy, but the mathematics don't lie. 3 massive cosmic events converging on one day, affecting Earth's magnetic fields in a way we've never seen. If even half of what the math predicts will happens, October 30th, 2025 will be the day humanity remembers as the day that we evolved. Not gradually over millennia, but together, consciously in a single day. We have 45 days to prepare for the most significant consciousness event in human history. Share this with everyone you know. Start your preparations now, because ready or not, October 30th, 11:44 a.m., 6.2 billion minds are going to sync up for the first time ever. And the mathematics says you'll never be the same. So like, comment, share, And as always, follow for more mind-bending content.
Now, that is interesting, isn't it? Because we talk about the human resonance and Schumann resonance and everything and all these sorts of things and all these stuff we've been feeding. Now, obviously, that 45 days ago, that's today. I don't even know what universal time is. I did look at it the other day, but I don't know where it is differently in the world and things like that. But we've all been talking about many, many events that are happening. We've had no disruptions here until today, and I hate people that date fag like that. But what he's saying is still interesting stuff, isn't it?
It's really interesting. I mean, okay, so we passed 11:30 a.m. over here on the East Coast already by about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. But maybe those effects are maybe we don't just feel them like, like we feel them, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's something. But what I do find interesting is that if this is the case, which mathematically it sounds like it is, right? I don't know enough about this to dispute it. It's interesting how what Trump has been doing this month with the changing of the frequencies and the triad is kind of happening before or during, I guess before, because they already kind of did that shift. And it's kind of interesting how the energies, like everything is kind of being said to happen at the same time. That I find really interesting. And I don't know, maybe this is the kind of thing where you're not going to notice it per se, right?
Yeah,
It's very involved in our lives, but it could have those kind of effects that could affect how we feel, our mood. Like some of the things I was just talking about with you, like, feeling like you can't be around certain energies anymore. You know what I'm saying? So even if that timing is supposed to be at a specific time, I would think that nothing is just like the snap of a finger, that things are leading up, the Schumann resonance is changing. Like there's a lot of before and after from that date that still gets affected and we feel, but it would make sense.
Yeah, we've been hearing about solar flares and all these sorts of things. Look, humanity's consciousness is rising every day.
Yes.
Right? Mine is, yours is. The people that are side-eyeing things and know something's going on, even the fact that they won't say anything and get involved, that their consciousness is rising because they're stepping back and going, I think COVID may have been a bit of a lie, and whatever they're talking about. Maybe Trump did win that 2020 election, Oh, look at all these Democrats. Look what they're doing. Is the mainstream media lying to us? People are learning things every single day.
And you're talking about geopolitical things, but I can tell you, as a coach who works holistically with mind, body, spirit, I can tell you that so I'm kind of like tuned to that way of thinking and talking when I talk to people. I've never experienced so many people like I have in the last couple of years that are so aware. Now, some people use it as a buzzword, but it doesn't matter. Even if it's a buzzword, right? It's out there. It's out in the ether. People are so much more tuned in to things like their frequency, what, high vibration is about versus low vibration, tuned into different language and words that before people didn't use in the mainstream, some other things. I'm trying to think. I just lost my train of thought. There's that, and this idea of manifestation. Like go back 10 years. Who was saying this kind of stuff? Who was talking about this kind of stuff? Who was putting it in the mainstream vocabulary? I also see more and more people. I don't think it's as prevalent in the older generation, say the 50 plus or maybe the 60 plus. People are still very tuned into the medical / pharmaceutical world and way of doing things. But I see it more and more with people that I deal with that are just trying to figure out how to stay well and how to do it in a natural way, and seeing the connection between what's going on emotionally and spiritually to what's manifesting physically in the body, right? I don't think you could have had that conversation 20 years. You could have with very specific people, but in a broad base, I don't think it. People had this very separate view of how their body works versus the mind. They didn't see that connection. And so, to your point, yes, I think that's a result of the natural frequency raising across the board.
Yeah, even no one used to care about what they ate, did they? But now everyone's looking into it. Even a lot of the younger generation now are eating so much healthier. I mean, so many more kids and stuff now go to the gym and things like that because, and you can look at it both ways, that they're all posting pictures on Instagram and doing their stories and things like that. But the fact that people are going to the gym and staying fit and all these sorts of things, trying to eat locally sourced food and just being mindful about it. 30 years ago, I used to think meditation was woo-woo and things like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's an overall shift in things. And, here's the other thing too. I'm not making a value judgment, so I don't want anyone to think this, but you have many more people contemplating, let's put it that way, a different kind of diet too. Like there's a lot more people, especially the younger generation. Now, I don't want to get into the health issues because we can make a very strong argument why meat is very healthy for us and all of that. But what I'm saying is, there's a compassion that maybe we didn't see years ago, and people, a lot of people are not just say wanting to be vegetarian or vegan for the health, but it's just, can I feel a greater connection with an animal? So can I be okay with eating it? And again, I'm not making a value judgment because even though I'm a vegetarian, I don't care what you eat. Your body and your sense of craving is telling you what you need, and you need to follow that. My body tells me not to, but other people do. However, I do think that a lot of people today that take on that dietary way of eating, there's a lot more emotion to it. There's a lot more compassion, and I don't think, we even thought about these things 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, does a cow or a pig have feelings? Like, we just didn't think about that. So what is that saying? That's saying all of us, the frequency and the connectedness that we have with all of God's creatures, it's becoming more intertwined, where we're having that sense of compassion. I also think people who do eat meat, let's say, they also are not cold. Nobody wants to hear that an animal was abused during the process. They want it to be a thing where something is done in the most humane way. But I don't know if I could say that about 50 years ago. I don't think people really thought about it or cared or worried or and so I think the whole frequency of our connection to the earth, years ago, people would talk about grounding or walking barefoot or hugging a tree. And you were thought of as a weirdo. But now the exposure of that and what the science is behind it, right? Like that guy you just had on, he's talking about the mathematics. He's talking about the physics of it, right? There's a physics to trees and to the way they're rooted to the earth and the frequency that they give off. And when you walk on the ground without shoes.
I think, even films like Avatar coming out and stuff like that was to push people in this direction, and I went vegetarian about 4 or 5 years ago for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And during all this, for many of the reasons you just mentioned, but and my health was all right. I really enjoyed it. I was passionate and stuff like that. But the food I was eating, once I started investigating it, because you can live on just, even if you buy lettuce, it's sprayed in crap and all sorts of things, isn't it? And you can live on chickpeas and everything like that if you want to do this vegan diet properly and all those sorts of things. But I was eating a lot of the fake meats and products and sausages, with no animal content in them. But once I started researching all the things that were in these and who was behind them,
100%,
Bill Gates and stuff like that, I made a conscious decision to go back to eating meat. And I try not to eat too many carbs, even though I do have a binge day every now and then. But I do eat meat, and I try and buy it only from the butcher, and I eat vegetables and salad with it.
Yeah.
And my health is much better. I've lost a lot of weight. I can feel my six pack. You know, I'm going to the gym again, and it's, you know, no one wants to see animal dies. You know, if I want to, you know, I don't pray at the end of my bed, right, for Jesus's return. If Jesus comes back, I want to go and have a beer with him, and I want to know. You know, that's the way I think about these things. And I want the truth to know will be yours. And I want the ultimate truth. And once I know that truth, right, I'm going to live by it. You know, and until then, we're being lied to about what's good for you. You know,
100%.
everyone should eat 3 eggs a day. 3 eggs a day. Eating 3 eggs a day is bad for you. Cholesterol, high, you know, all these sorts of things. They're constantly changing the narrative to confuse people.
And you're right. And people today, and I think with the help of podcasters and people like us, they're able to get and these doctors who are more naturopathic about how they look at things. They're educating people more. You know, like I can't be like a full-on vegan because I know from my research that there's things about butter that are very healthy for you. So I'm not going to go eat something that's just because it's not from an animal, right? I'm not going to sit there and say, oh my God, there's a muffin. What are all the ingredients? I'm not, unless they're bad ingredients. But if they're products that are non-vegan, I'm not going to start saying, oh, I can't have it. To me, that's an obsession, just in my opinion. And you have to also know what your body needs and what nutrients it needs and how it needs it. And like I said, from the time I was a little girl, I just didn't like meat. I like chicken, I like turkey, but I didn't like red meat. Just didn't like it. I didn't have any emotions about it. I didn't have any like preconceived ideas that an animal was being killed. And some people crave that. So I always feel like you have to, what your body tells you need to do is your own special connection, and you have to honor that and you have to do it. But my point is, I think people even, you know, that eat everything, I think there's just a different consciousness about it. That's all I'm saying. You know, like that people are starting to move into that thing that animals are not just objects, or they're not just there for our pleasure. Like, yes, it's like even the Native Americans, they ate animals, but they prayed and thanked for the fact that that animal gave up its life to sustain humans and other creatures. So I just think that is what's evolving. You know what I'm saying? That sense of awareness. And I don't want to purposely hurt another one of God's creatures. For me, I want to make sure that I'm doing it in an honorable way that respects that creature, even if, because especially if it's helping to sustain, you know, like I'll eat fish and but I still have that feeling like, you know, it's becoming part of me now, you know? Yeah,
exactly. And, you know, a lot of these tribes and stuff like that, they don't just eat the meat of the animal, do they? They use every part of the animal, you know? And, yeah, I want to learn about that. And in fact, listening to Ted Nugent talk about these certain things, and I mean, he's a bow hunter, and he talks about, you know, using every part of the animal and all these sorts of things. And, you know, he talks about what they do to grow crops. You know, they just destroy everything. I've got a 30-second clip of Ted Nugent somewhere. You've probably seen it, what he says, but I haven't got it now. But yeah, that's really interesting. We could talk about that. We could talk about all of these subjects for hours and hours, but because we mentioned Bill Gates there, this is something really amazing that happened yesterday. You remember when Trump had that all the tech CEOs round the table? He had Tim Cook and Dark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and all these other serpents around him, and all the panic hands and the black people going, look, see, and all this stuff. And we were talking about this is the potential Silicon Valley capitulation tour now coming out into the public. Do you see what happened with Bill Gates yesterday?
I didn't see that. No. Right. Tell me about that.
Donald Trump posted this. We just won the war on climate change hoax. Bill Gates has finally admitted that he was completely wrong on the issue. It took courage to do so, and for that, we're all grateful. MAGA. All right, now I've just got a little video to go with that.
Okay.
Oh, that's going on the wrong side.
Synonymous.
They keep appearing on my wrong monitor. It's only 2 minutes.
So the man once synonymous with climate doomerism, Bill Gates, is making a shocking about face. He wrote a new memo and he says, although climate change will have serious consequences, it will not lead to humanity's demise. The doomsday outlook is causing much of the climate community to focus too much on near-term emissions goals, and it's diverting resources from the most effective things we should be doing. But will the Democrats get the message?
You believe this is the toughest challenge humanity has ever faced?
Absolutely.
The world is going to end in 12 years. If we don't, it will be a death sentence to countless of people.
A term they've coined called climate anxiety.
Period.
Right? Which is fear of the future and the unknown.
Greg, a lot of that money that was spent funded a mass delusion, and now they're paying the price.
It is infuriating, and it's hopeful. It's infuriating because, like the trans issue, those who questioned the lies were demonized. We are accused of putting lives in danger. It was the exact same strategy. Trillions of dollars were extorted from taxpayers based on the notion that this was an existential threat, and if you ignored it, like they told you, you were going to let people die. Now we know that's a lie, and it was a lie that impacted the mental health of generations and the physical health of a civilization. People were told to stop having kids. If you had kids, you were hurting the planet. But it is hopeful that Gates and others are ceding to reality. We saw it happen already. Nobody's talking about the data anymore because the data, the climate models, they're finally admitting are fraudulent. They were retrofitted so that they matched the results they were getting. And now that's out in the open. So now, and then you see Greta the Ghoul, she's tossed aside Mother Earth for her new crusade of hating the Jews. Think about all the grifters, though, who got filthy rich off this ruse. Where is Al Gore, the patron saint of the false apocalypse? But Bill Gates, why did he do this now? I think it's because he got divorced. You know, before he was
Funny, isn't it, how these things are coming into the spotlight at just the right time?
Oh my gosh. Yes, so scripted. And you know what I'm kind of like, just personally, this whole idea of the inversion of all these men that were married to men in the public eye, whether it be Macron,
oh right, yeah, I see what
Obama,
you
mean. Bill Gates, right? Supposedly that
Bill
was
Gates married to Kevin Kline, you mean?
What's that?
Bill Gates married to Kevin Kline.
No, but supposedly, you know, they're all dudes. I mean, take a good look at them.
Yeah.
And again, that comes to that has absolutely nothing to do with, it's about a lie. That's what it's about. It's about a lie. It's about a satanic way of living. There's so much more to it. And I am personally looking forward to when it comes out in the mainstream for the normies about Big Mike. That's my own personal, that's the thing that's gonna, like, some people want this, some people want to see that. That's what I want to see. That's what's gonna make me really excited.
I want to see Obama perp walked.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the main thing I want to see is a press conference where Trump walks out with JFK Jr. That is what one of my dreams is. Whether he's alive or not, you know, we can manifest what we want in the future. But I would absolutely love to see that. I'd love to see them all come out. Princess Di, Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that would be interesting, right? I will say, though, I know a lot of people want to see the perp walk. That does not excite me as much because I guess I know that a lot of this has happened already and they've dealt with these bad people or whatever they are. But what I want to see more is the shaming, because like a perp walk is like, to me, that's not the same as a shaming. It's not the same as having them admit Big Mike is Big Mike and not Michelle. Like, I want to see the shaming where people who were so blinded, and yes, this is mean, but people that were so blinded, like where you would literally see them comparing Michelle Obama to Melania. I mean, How is that even in the realm of possibility? I mean, how is that even in the realm? So then to see the truth and say, this is a dude and this is a lady, I want to see the shaming part. And do whatever you want. You want to perp walk them, you want to I don't care, because I know they're probably all already gone. So I don't need that. But I personally think the shaming part and the truth. Listen, most people don't go as deep as we do into a lot of things, right? So to see someone get perp walked and they're, for crimes, that's like the last step. The thing that I think is more upsetting and fucks with your mind more is for someone to tell you, someone who you thought was a woman all these years is a man. Somebody who you were told was such a great humanitarian and won the Nobel Prize was shipping little kids into the White House for parties. That to me is more important than seeing a criminal or a military prosecution. That's what I want to hear.
But I mean, the reason I want to see Obama perp walked for two reasons. Number one, I want to see him fucking perp walked, right? But number two, the main reason is the fact that when all the other people see him perp walked, they're going to have the thought, oh shit.
Yeah.
What those crazies were telling us is true.
You're right.
That is the reason for that.
Yeah.
Hillary arrest, we don't want to see any frazzled videos coming out and things like that, do we, or anything like that? No. But that is the reason. It's the shock for the people that have denied all this. It's like the 2020 election overturned, COVID truth, Fauci arrested, Bill Gates arrested. We hear Bill Gates was taken out a long time ago. We hear
I think they say that actually if you go back, one of the things that said he was actually taken out in like 2015, him and his wife in India, because of the crimes he did to those poor children.
Yeah, didn't he maim 47,000
Oh
children?
my God.
I heard that they hung him from a tree. But, we can't prove this, but we do take all the information on board. But any of these truths, and I don't know what the big one. Well, look, we've just had almost as soon as we stopped our show last week and I went back into Telegram and stuff, it might have been that day or the next day, I can't remember, but Kash Patel came out. The FBI has done a massive investigation into all the NBA, haven't they, and all this gambling, sports wigging, betting and stuff like that, which is leading to the NFL. I think it's all just declass is coming out all the time. There's been so many child trafficking arrests.
So many.
Yeah, and in fact, I was actually looking for a video the other day and I couldn't find it because I haven't named everything that I've saved, and they're on so many hard drives and stuff now. But of how many child trafficking arrests and things have happened.
Now, do you think? See, this is where I'm not sure. Do you think a lot of these big things, like I know, like on Restored Republic, they talked about a lot of the rescuing of many children, and of course stating that many corpses were also found. Do you think those things are happening, or do you think they happened and we're
public disclosure, a public rollout of things that have already happened? Trump has said a long time ago, I've got all these little clips, we have it all, I caught the swamp, no one could have done it but me, right? All these things a long time ago, right? Q jobs, we are far enough into this operation that we cannot jeopardize it anymore. All these things. And I do believe they are still catching criminals now. Yes, and sting operations and tracking everyone and following the devices and stuff. Everything's being tracked. Right? All these illegal immigrants and stuff like that. Why do you think they've all been given phones? It's a tracking device. Don't matter if you throw your passport away when you're coming across in a dinghy. If you've got a phone or a credit card, right, that you are being tracked and traced constantly.
Yeah. And the I guess we go back to COVID, right? because think about the cities that were the most shut down, like the most extreme rules and regulations and anti-constitutional and Nuremberg Code, right? New York, Australia, and those areas that were so intense. Of course, there were others, around the world. That was, that you just made me think about that, because it's like that was the time when he was having all the ventilators made, right? All these companies that were helping to make the vents for all the people that had COVID. And we knew, that the USS Comfort was used. It was a ruse, right? To show how this really wasn't, because if it really was a pandemic, it would be full and there wasn't one person and the hospitals were not full and people were running around doing dances in hospitals because they were so empty, et cetera, et cetera. But we know that that was sort of what we understand is those were med beds for the rescued children and, whoever else was trafficked at that time. So, yeah. And you're going back a number of years. So I agree with you. I think there's still pockets and little things here and there, and that I'm sure that they're still actively cleaning out. But I think the bulk of what we're hearing was.
I had little videos, they're also somewhere, of nurses talking. They're bringing out children in Central Park and the marquees that were set up. And I'll tell you,
do you have those videos? Because I only heard the stories like through the different channels and stuff. And I never.
It's sort of video of an audio call and stuff like that. But most of them have been scrubbed off the internet and stuff like that. And I couldn't find them. I've definitely got them somewhere. Okay. But I've had to change computers and put stuff on drives and all these sorts of things. It might take me ages to find them. I'll write that down.
So these were nurses that sort of filmed themselves talking about what they experienced.
No, there was only one major clip, really. I did do a couple, but there was only one that I had to re-find another time. Do you know what? You could probably find it on Rumble or YouTube now, or Twitter somewhere. But I will try and find it. But watching the Comfort and the Mercy roll in was one of the things that touched my heart the most, because we were hearing they were for the rescued children and, Trump talking about ventilators and stuff. But one of the greatest things I did see in this is when it was either the Comfort or the Mercy, Trump went to salute it off, didn't he? I think from the port, and we heard in the Q drops, "Watch the water," right? Yeah. And that Mercy, because where Monkey Works was doing the skies, we were all tracking. You had the ship fags, whatever you want to call them, tracking the ship and that Mercy came down the coast and did a big turn like that and made a Q in the water. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all these things, like you say them, it's like we've had so much more information like hit us over the last few years. But like if you go back in time, it was all there. We saw it all. We witnessed it all, in the drops, in the news, like, where you were looking below the surface message that was being said. And I guess that's probably why so many of us are just like, enough. Just let's get on with it, because we've been through this already.
It's not for us though, is it? The movie is not for us, right?
No.
But the hat tips and everything in the movie is for us. But everything we talk about and everything that happened since May of 2020, I mean, my Stu's News little podcast I used to do, I just used to speaking to a camera and stuff. I used to go out cycling, speaking to my GoPro and stuff. But once I'd sort of like worked out how to use OBS, then I started showing clips and going through Twitter and links. And I've got everything in all of my old Stu's News episodes. I tell the whole story. It's something people go back to.
We should produce a movie.
Why not? We
should produce a movie and put all of that together, because you documented so much. I mean, a lot, I would say 90% 90 to 93% of what you have, I've seen There's probably that 5 or 7% that you have, that you have more. But we all lived it, but you documented, you held on. Like, I didn't hold on to things. I didn't save things. I was like raising my kids, I'm lucky I was able to like read stuff, but that would be such an amazing movie with the right editor to put that together to I don't want to give too many ideas over on a live, because you and I have to talk
Well,
about
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I mean, it's like I've been saying for years, I cannot wait to get up in the morning when the storm's hit and the truth's out and we've had the EBS or whatever, and walk past my computer and not turn it on. Just do something else in the day. But that's my day at the moment, and I absolutely love it. But once that's done, and I've had about 3 or 4 weeks, gone on a beautiful holiday or done what I want to do, and I come back to it, and maybe we'll all be rich, and Nasara and XRP's this and that and everything, and I might be able to get myself a bigger house or a healing centre or anything like that. I will then create myself a nice studio, so I don't have to sit here under the stairs.
I'm under a peak too. You can't see it. I'm under a peak too.
Perfect. Your backdrop looks amazing, by the way. We did say that earlier, but it looks excellent. It doesn't look like you've got your window open now.
Yeah, by the way, I just want to tell you that they pulled up. Even though it's raining, the landscaper pulled up. So just a warning. I'll try to mute as much as I can here, but
no, that's all right. So, and then what I want to do is, I don't know whether we'll be on some new quantum financial system and everyone will have an account and it'll be technology released and all these sorts of things. We know AI is so good now at doing all these things. But I want to go through all my stuff, put it into AI, get AI to name it and categorize it and give it back to me in nicely worked folders. Most of it's like that anyway. But don't forget, even my Telegram, I used to download my Telegram, everything I posted on Telegram every week, right? And then store that as a file.
Wow.
I've downloaded Facebook accounts, Twitter information and all these things. And it'll be really interesting by going through, because what I'm going to do as well is, once I've got a site, whether that's my website or Rumble or anything like that, that I know is never going to be censored and all my stuff deleted or doesn't work in the UK anymore now, like BitChute. Once I know we've got a platform, I'm going to re-upload everything, and I will probably watch it again. Like, oh yeah, I remember that. And whilst I go through all that, that's when I can get everything documented and take bits out, and you can do it with you and all that. I will start uploading. In fact, I've got another Rumble channel just called Stu's News. It's private. The links aren't out there, but I've just loaded up my the very first videos I did, where I was out on my bike, sitting on a hill and stuff like that, ready to go. So, yeah. We're still going to be very busy in the future.
Oh, we're going to be so busy. Okay, so here's my plan. My plan is, with hopefully the wealth and everything that's coming, right? Because I have a full presentation plan put together, sorry about the noise, for a healing center as well. And people say to me, I had this conversation yesterday, oh, you got to get out of New York. Yes, I would like to be able to, just because I'm at that age now, I'd like to be snowbirding in a warmer climate, during the winter and have all that. But you know what? New York is so beaten down. The people are so brainwashed. They're so emotionally screwed with and spelled, and that doesn't include the physical, right? All the physical stuff. So my plan is to have a healing center up here, because we need it up here, and so that's my end goal. However, before that happens, or as the planning is happening, I think I told you I am planning to go down to Mel's place for like a month, recharge, just take in that beautiful frequency, because I've slept there before. It's amazing. And anybody else who wants to come, and we hang out during the day, we sleep there at night. Yep. We just have a party. I've actually made a list of all the local places to go. You know what I mean? All like the fun things to do during the day and the touring and all that. And then, like I said, I'm doing an Italy, Sicily trip for my roots, have fun, and then come back and, like you said, get back to work. Like then really, you know, start to do more on a bigger scale humanitarian stuff.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I always said, excuse me, I would love to have a healing centre in the Alps, because I went cycling in the Alps in 2018, and there's a lot of beautiful places in the world I haven't been, but living halfway up a mountain, I'm not a skier or a snowboarder or anything like that, but in the summer, it is beautiful and the air is so clear. I'd love a healing centre there. And if I had the funds, it would be free for anyone who came along. And I also know a few people that a lot of my mates don't. Did you know I'm a Reiki healer?
Yes, we know so many people, like all the modalities. I'm going to send you what I put together. I actually have to send it to a few people because of I'm so anal, and my corporate background with putting presentations and all this kind of stuff together. I put it all together, so it might be a good template for other people, not necessarily for the idea of getting, like funds, but just mentally to know like the order of things and how to do it and the way to do it successfully. But I think that you start to realize all the people in your life that you come across that do all these healing modalities. And then I don't know about you, but when I talk about this, they get so excited, like, oh my gosh, I want to be part of that. And that's why I did that. That's why I became this, because so many people that go into the healing field, the real thing happens is you have to make money. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to heal people, you want it to just happen, but you're like, but I have to make money. So I have to treat this like a business in the sense of, how many clients do I have? And that takes away in so much of like us being creators, where we could just be focused on just the healing, the helping, the loving part of it, because you got to pay a bill. You can't just say, oh, I don't have to think about that anymore, and I could just work on helping people and being creative. And hopefully that happens soon.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Today would be nice.
Yeah, I would, right? Let me see what else. You know what I wanted to talk about? What do you think about this whole ending of the entitlements, right? Because here in the States, it's called SNAP. It's the food stamps. And I think they said that 42 million Americans will be affected by this. And they're, now they're threatening to publicly riot. Have you heard about this?
I've heard about SNAP. Yeah, I haven't looked into it too much. It's I didn't really know what it was about, but there's a lot of people talking that is it November the 5th that people are saying riots are being planned for?
I believe, yeah, and isn't that an interesting date, right? Remember the 5th of November. Yeah, so you know how so I'm thinking, is this the part of the movie where the military is needed? I mean, there's a lot of reasons that, we could argue why we need to have the military in these different areas, but maybe this is another like trigger point, this issue. And I think I sent you that list of the people. I don't know if I sent it to you in WhatsApp, I believe. Just that.
Yeah, and I've got it. I'll put it in this little thing I've got for you. There was a post.
It's amazing who's getting these entitlements.
Yeah, there was a post from the general earlier that this one here, breaking: Democrats are preparing to surround the White House with millions of protesters on November the 5th, demanding Trump's removal from power. But this is why, is it that one there? Is it that one there you wanted?
Yes.
Right, okay, yeah. So you can talk me through that, but this is why Trump knows, the military know, this is why the military is stationed everywhere, ready, clean and swift. What huge drop was that? You just talk through that a minute.
Yeah,
I mean, you can see.
I'm getting the
the
echo,
echo though.
You're getting an echo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's able to be heard.
I can't hear an echo.
In here?
Okay,
Okay, so I'll just talk through it. It's like singing the national anthem at a ball game. You know, you have to wear earplugs because you hear the echo. But if you look, you know, the majority of people you could see citizens, very low percentages that are on these food stamps versus look up here. You know, are these people in the last few years that we're talking about of immigrants, right?
Yeah. Now, these are all people in the United States, aren't they?
Correct.
Yes. No, I've seen this. I've seen a lot of reports on this and stuff. But this is waking people up all the time. Well, it's waking the Americans up. This is what DOGE was all about. This is where people's money is going. This is what the American taxpayer is paying for. And it's not the American taxpayer. It is there. But we're doing it in every country in Western society, right? What Larry Ballard said the other night, and I've been saying this for ages, it's all about self-deportation. Right? And that's nothing to do with get out of our country or anything like that. That is to do with your country of birth origin not being a war zone anymore, not being demonized and starved and hungry and shit living conditions. This is about a redistribution of global wealth, money coming up to parity, people being able to live in their own countries. And who would not want to do that? There's so many people in other countries that got relatives back in these war-torn countries that would absolutely love to go home.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, they didn't always all want to come here just for the sake of it. You know, like, yes, I think there are a lot of people from other countries who have, quote, the American dream, or they want to come here, or they want to build a life here, or move to England, or move to any of these other places, right? But so many of them are going out of just necessity, and they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan like, I want to have a business, I want to do this, I want my kids to have that. They just come here. I don't know what their skills are, but they're clearly just milking off the system.
America is a land of migrants, isn't it? That was what it was designed to be. But the legal people who have migrated there and gone through the system and contributed to society and got good jobs, they're standing up against this illegal migration.
Absolutely.
Happening.
Yeah, and like, I can only speak for, you know, my community or people I know and stuff like that, but a lot of the depending on where they came from in the world to America and what the cultural, you know, what their culture is about. But if you look at a lot of the people that came to this country, generally like the immigrants, their children were the ones that they pushed to get the education, to, you know, assimilate more into the society so that they were moving up, socioeconomically. And however, I can only speak like for my, you know, ethnicity of Italian Americans. Many of those people, they started businesses. They had farms in their yard. They grew their own food. They had, you know, chickens and had eggs. And I mean, my grandfather came over from Sicily in the 1930s, and, you know, probably the 20s, but in the 30s when my dad and my aunt were born, he bought a building. He bought a building in Manhattan so that he knew that he was going to have income from renting it out. He had a little farm in his backyard where he grew some vegetables and he had chickens, right? So many of them started restaurants and, you know, fruit stands, and this goes across the board. Like, I'm not just talking about the Italians. I can only speak from my own experience, but immigrants that come here with that dream are so productive in like adding to the society. They're hungry and they want to be part of it, and they want to make their mark, and they want their children to exceed whatever they've done, so, and surpass the accomplishments they've done. And then you have people that are just coming into these, your country, my country, and what are they doing? They don't come with a dream. They don't come with an intent.
Well, they're not even doing. Some of them are talking about, we have come here to take over your country. You are all going to live under Sharia law, and things like that. And when people aren't making it up, it's coming from the horse's mouth. Certain people are saying these things. But even that, I see it as a good thing, because that is, everyone's got to wake up. I don't know how many times I have to say it to these people.
Yeah.
And something else that happens is going to touch a nerve on someone else.
Yeah. And, if you look at different, at least in the United States, I guess also in England, right? You have different cultures that come to the country, and they bring their own their food, their customs, right? And some of it infiltrates into the rest of society, and then it builds upon that it becomes the norm, right? Different kinds of foods and cuisines, or celebrations, or whatever it is. But one of the things that immigrants usually are, so they want to learn the language, they want to fit in, they want to be a part of that. It's a movie, but even when you watch The Godfather, they're waving the American flag, and a lot of those groups, it doesn't matter what you are. And that would even go for the Muslims in this country that have come for the same reason. They want to build something, and they have their communities. But 2019 and to the present is a very different reason, or why you had these mass migrations. But to your point, and to what we've known for a long time, anybody who has followed and understands Nasara and Jasara, it is about this voluntary deportation. Because you're right. Would I rather be, for us, would you rather be in another country, or would you rather be where you grew up, and your family and your friends and your culture, if you're going to live a certain way? You don't want to leave that.
No, exactly. 100%. And I do think that is something we're going to see down the line. And it was good, because when we did our interview with Larry the other day, we put a few things in there and all that, and he just puts a big smile on. Yeah. So, yeah, good.
I thought it was really funny, when we were hearing the anger when all these immigrants they're giving them cell phones, and I'm thinking, but that's brilliant. That's part of the brilliance. How they're being tracked. I don't know. People felt like it was like they were given a gift. Okay, from the outside it looks that way.
Yeah, it's even about the fact that we have to pay so much for our cell phones. I've got a good deal now that I pay a certain amount of money for unlimited everything per month, and it's pretty decent. But phone bills are extortionate, for people. It's got so much better with things like WhatsApp, and you can phone anyone in the world on video for free. Whether they're storing all your information or not. Look, if you're not on a government watch list by now, you're doing something wrong.
Right, exactly.
And I don't care. But people bringing out the digital ID, absolutely brilliant, because people are up in arms about it. Oh no, it's all over. No, it's so you stand up and say we're not doing it.
Yep.
What's it going to take? Everyone's got to rise up at some stage. I don't know who's going to be the last one. Well, there's going to be 4 to 6%, isn't there? That they reckon.
Never waking up.
Never going to waken up, and and I can see that. And I've been saying for a long time, you cannot wake these people up now, but never underestimate the power of planting seeds. You've got to keep doing all we can until they do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. And I was trying to think, what are people actually doing that's preventing them from waking up? Is it just the media? I'm talking about today. I'm not talking about like before, but like, is it the media? Is it that they're so involved in working to put food on the table? Is it that they're zoned out watching sports and ridiculous programming? Like, I try to figure that out sometimes. Like, what is the difference? Is it all of the above? I don't know.
I think it's because, although COVID was bad, right, as a sense of the fact that everyone suffered in some sort of way. Everyone lost people. Some people took the jab. People had to go and wear masks to go shopping and all that. Everyone suffered in some sort of a way. You're going to have to turn your mic back on and just tell me what you're saying again, because I've completely lost track of where I was going with that.
Oh, I was just saying, what is it specifically right now? Or
right, okay, yes. Because people, apart from that COVID stuff, a lot of people still think that was a real event. So what's happening in people's daily lives? So even though people are struggling to put food on the table and have to work 2 jobs and just wanting to slouch on the couch when they get home from work and watch the sport and things like that, they have not, it hasn't hit them in the pocket in a way that affects their bubble, really. And I think it's in some way, shape or form, it's got to affect everyone in a way, which is why we may see some sort of banking collapse and people not being able to get their money out of the banks. We've been seeing this all the time. It's difficult even going in the bank now. They want to know where you got your money from when you're paying it in, what you're going to spend it on when you take it out. You're limited to how much you can take. All these sorts of things. It's my money,
Right. No, totally. And you know what? You make a really good point about that, because, and I think it was Charlie Ward who once said, like, they've tried everything, like nothing woke them, even where I think a lot of us thought the idea of child trafficking would wake people up. It really hasn't.
Yeah, but they don't.
I mean, people are appalled when they hear it, but then they just go on with their day. Like, they don't want to dig deeper to understand what this is about. I think people think it's very isolated. There's these pedophiles over here and this weird guy down the street. But money, that'll wake them up.
Yes, it will. COVID truth will wake them up. Quick shot. Fauci getting arrested, or Bill Gates publicly, the clones or the actors or whatever like that, or bring them back out for the day, Perk Walker, and take them back to Guantanamo, whatever.
Yeah.
There's certain things that's got to happen. I don't know what the sequence of events will be, but I do believe, we're getting a lot about Russiagate and all these indictments coming out now, but the turning over of the 2020 election will be massive.
That's a big one.
And I believe that's coming. Look, we keep talking about once 11.3 verifies as the first marker, right? And the law of war man and all these things. Maybe that is November the 3rd, and maybe it's 3 days away, right? Mm-hmm. We don't know. But October's been quite hot, hasn't it, for the stuff that's come out.
For the discerning.
Don't forget as well that Hillary Clinton on the 9th and Bill Clinton on the 14th were meant to testify in front of Congress or a judicial commission or something like that. We've heard nothing about that.
Nothing.
But when Sessions and Bill Barr testified, they won the first 2, weren't they, that they had to do it in the list of people. See, it's all behind closed doors. We might still get a Hillary news today. We don't know. Just excited for what's happening every single day. I go to sleep at night. I'm on day 11 of Mahoney's Parasite.
Oh yeah, how's that? So what exactly did you do? Are you able to share like what exactly you did with this?
Yeah, well, I've been doing a video diary, but I've been bored doing it the last 5 days because I've been turning the camera on and going, yeah, I feel all right. Nothing's happening. Right, so I've been using Mahoney's Paragon Parasite Cleanse, which is, you get a bottle with 60 tablets in it. It's about 60, 70 quid, I think. I've had a few emails back and forth with them, but there's 2 protocols for it. Actually, he's got a new bottle. I've got the old bottle, which I bought about 3-4 months ago, something like that, and I've just had it in the cupboard. But I've decided to do it. So I'm doing the old protocol. His new bottle has got extra things in it. Right? Which means just there's one protocol for the big C and parasites. But I have to take 3 a day for 10 days, 5 days off, then 3 a day for 10 days as well. I take one of those in the morning on empty stomach with a NAC, which I would take in my vitamin regime every day anyway, but I take it with that. And I also take a Tutica, right, which is a liver support.
Is that recommended, or you just decided to do the liver?
No, they do recommend it. So I've emailed them, and I've got some Tutica, so I'll take one of those. And I've looked how much your recommended dosage. I only take one. It says you're meant to take 2 capsules a day, but I'll take one. I've been absolutely fine. And I've had a couple of beers the last few nights as well, because I emailed them as well. I said, look, I'm 7 days in. This is going really well, but I am gasping, and I do fancy a nice crisp lager. What's the crack with that? Oh, absolutely fine to have a couple of beers, Stu, but just be mindful, the liver is cleaning out. As long as you're taking Tuca with it and stuff like that, all good. So I've had a couple of beers, and it's all going well. So I've now got 5 days off. Then I've got, and what happens in those 5 days? Anything that's left in there, like the eggs and the juveniles and things like that, they rear their ugly heads to make sure the coast is clear, and then you smash them again for 10 days.
So it's 10 days on, 5 days off, 10 days back on. And if you go to what's the name of his website again?
Mahoney Supplements. I can send you a link to that.
Yeah, I think for anybody watching too, give a plug to David. David's actually going to be on the marathon tomorrow. And then if we
get that on screen now.
And then I'm going to check that out because I've been talking about wanting to do that.
Right. This is what I've done. Mahoney Supplements. Right. Chat with us. No. So it's Paragon Parasite Cleanse. It is. He's got new. My one has got 222 milligrams of fenbendazole and 12 milligrams of ivermectin each tablet, but he's put these other bits in it now, which all helps. I don't know if you still have to take Tuca with it, but let me post that. Comments. Post that there. Post. I'm getting quite handy with this.
Yeah.
So that's on the screen now. You can see that, yeah? Give David a plug there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I've done. But I've got the old bottle. And yeah, it's going well. And something quite funny that I was speaking to my friend about it, Dan, and he said to me, you need to be taking a charcoal binder with it. And I said, oh, I didn't know about that. He said, no, I'm in some groups and a lot of people talking about it and stuff. He showed me the bottle he got. And I said to him, have you tried a magnet on those? He said, no, what do you mean? I won't mention the name of them at the moment. He said, no, what do you mean? I said, every tablet or capsule I take, whatever vitamin company I use and stuff like that, I try a magnet on it. Because I had a cocodamol once. I made a video in COVID and I was dragging the capsule along with a magnet. So there's obviously something magnetic in that. And he said to me, oh, I'm quite busy at the moment, but I'll take a video when I can and stuff. Anyway, it took him about 2 days to send me a video. In the meantime, I bought a bottle for myself. They're on the shelf. They're unopened. He sent me a video back going, oh my God, look at this. And they're actually almost jumping up to the magnet, these things. My gosh. and he's waving the magnet about like that. So I said to him, right, now get a piece of kitchen towel out, empty the capsule out like that, and see if the stuff inside, whether it's the capsule or not. And this stuff was sticking to it like it had an afro. Right. So I said, I ain't taking that. He went, this is why we talk to each other. He said, thanks for that information. He emailed the company, said he was going to post a video online and stuff. They got back to him. They were so sorry and stuff. They'd get it sorted, look into it. And then he had another email back from someone else at the company. Oh, could you tell me what the issue is, please? They wanted him to repeat it all. And they just give him the runaround. So he's posted the video online on a few sites and stuff like that, saying don't use this stuff. But I want people to be mindful about that. I do that with everything, every supplement, capsule, whatever.
That's so important, yeah.
Because we've heard about so much graphene oxide and all these sorts of things that were, you know, in this, and people, all the people were sticking magnets to them.
And it was sticking.
You know, I've documented all that. It's amazing now. What's going on? You know, do you remember that time when everyone?
Yes, that was so freaky.
I know.
Wow.
So yeah, we need to check everything, don't we? We put into our bodies.
And then people wonder why everybody's so sick.
Yeah, and they wonder why we wear the tinfoil hats.
Right. Yeah. Thank God for those tinfoil hats. Right.
Right.
But I got to tell you, I am so excited about this idea of doing the movie. I think that would be so cool. It's almost like we need an outline first.
Don't forget, right? What's happening now will be talked about as, you know, you can talk about Jesus Christ walking the earth and things like that, right? But what we're going through now will potentially be talked about as the most important event and timeline in human history. And this is why you and I are sitting on here waffling away to each other, documenting it all for generations to come. Not only to get the information out to the people now, but so people can keep rewatching this stuff in the past. It's like people, you know, sit down and binge watch all this stuff on Netflix, and, you know, they're constantly consumed by all this stuff. People want to be watching this because this is the greatest story.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be told.
Yeah, and I think while this is like a drama, the comedic part of it is going to be during COVID with what people actually went out with and looked like. I mean, it's sad.
I was saying to you last time about, I've got a couple of pictures and I'll find those, and I couldn't find them. I just found 3.
Did you?
This is just tiny little things out of the stuff we saw. But people, you know, were walking about like that. Right. And I've got 2 more pictures. I'm not flying today. I'm flying today, but I'm not fucking around with Omicron. 3 times Pfizer jabs, negative rapid test, natural immunity, N95 sealed to my face with surgical tape. It won't help you because there's the size of the holes in the mask and all that. It says it on the box. Will not protect you. You know, secondary masks for displaying opinions. Obviously, you've got to get that in there. You political viewpoint. Face shield, vinyl gloves, touchscreen gloves, and a shit ton of Xanax. You know, and this one just sums it up even more. I mean, and this is, you had to see a lot of nurses and doctors, didn't you, suffering this sort of stuff, working in these conditions in hospitals because of what they were told.
You know, if you were one of those people because you were just so scared, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you gotta laugh now. I mean, listen, I know like that we were supposed to look there when things were going on over there, right? And this is where we were looking at these things like lucite. That I sort of think I have to find that meme about how lucite was one of the most important materials during COVID, right? Like and the virus was smart, right? Because it knew it couldn't go under and it couldn't go around, right? It was only moving.
What's loose like? Oh, you mean that plexiglass stuff?
Yeah, the plexiglass stuff, whatever that was called. And so, but they must have been laughing. I mean, come on. I know this is all like can you imagine being part of the team and watching what was going on around you? I mean, the contraptions that people were putting together, the way they were putting things around their kids, they were eating. I went to a restaurant during that whole ridiculous time, and they had the outdoor bubbles that people could sit in.
Yeah. Do you remember when they had music festivals, right? And they had pens set up, right? With sort of like a bit of fencing around it. You could have 6 people in the festival, and then 6 foot away, they'd have another pen and another pen and another pen.
It's so ridiculous. You know who has a really good comedy routine on this? Do you ever watch Jim Brewer, the comedian?
Yeah, I watch Jim Brewer all the time. Yeah,
love him when he talks about going on a plane, because he had to go on a plane, you know, and he's talking about all the things in the airport and the distance, and then you're sitting right next to someone. Just the sheer idiocracy of the whole thing. So that'll be the comic relief part of the movie.
I've just started a Jim Brewer album, actually, as it happens.
He's so great. He's from Long Island. You know that? He's from like the town next to where I grew up.
No. Yeah, I mean, you need people like Jim. We've had to have comedy throughout all of this to keep us going. And people just to point out the fucking stupidity.
Yeah. And God bless him for being so brave, right? Because
there's not many. There's not many of you and I and him and everyone else that's speaking out. There's not many. This is why most people won't do it.
I saw him live on Long Island. I think it was last November, or maybe it was I can't remember the exact date. Maybe it was the spring. He is so hysterical. And nothing, like, he talks about just basic stuff too in his comedy, right? But when he gets into sort of the political realm of things, it is just hysterical. His facial expressions, his bodily movements, like, just, he's really, really a funny man.
I know.
And a patriot.
Yeah. He's brilliant. Right. What do you want to... I've got a few things on there.
Yeah, go ahead, shoot.
Did you see the latest video of... I don't think I've got the video here. Is that an image?
Which one?
Oh, this is... Right. Obviously, Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau have now come out. I don't think this looks anything like them.
Nothing like them. But what's the point? What's the little calm going on there?
Well, I don't know. There was... I was listening to people because there was photos coming out of them two on a yacht the other day, weren't there? And I was listening to people discuss it and what it was about and how to keep people distracted and things like that. But I can't remember the conversation, if I'm honest with you.
Maybe that's just it. Maybe it's just distraction. Maybe it's to see, I feel like at this point, everything is like a test. They're trying to actually use a lot of things to determine like what that percentage is that's really awake. So depending on how many comments or views or whatever, who's still going to get the jab, like they're figuring out like, where are we? You know, where are we in this country? We're in this state, this part of the country, this, right? And I think they're using these things as tests to say, like, how else? They're not going to send somebody to the door and say, excuse me, are you awake? Like, you know, they have to use these different ways to ascertain it, right?
Oh, exactly that. I mean, it's like we talk about Zoran Mandani.
Don't even get me started on that.
Well, now we've had over in certain places in the world have had it worse than others. We've talked about Australia and COVID lockdown. Now people are laid back and how people have, but New York and certain places democratically run, right, have had it hard, and they might get it a bit harder yet, with Mandami. But we heard, you know who Conor McGregor is, don't you?
Yeah.
He's a cage fighter. Now, he was running for Prime Minister or President, whatever it is, of Ireland. Now, a lot of us thought, oh, we might get in. It was only yesterday or the day before. We've just heard this Catherine Connolly has been elected Prime Minister of Ireland, right? And she is a Mandami, right? I've got a little video here. I'll play this.
There's 120 million people displaced, no amount of border protection, no amount of detention centres, no amount of prisons or walls are going to sort that out. And I, for one, for as long as I'm here, whether it's a few weeks or a few more years, I'm going to use my voice to say, that is wrong. Do not build Europe up as a fortress.
I think she's just been elected head of Ireland. So we might even see, because the Irish, they're standing up, a lot of them now, but they were so laid back as well. And there's a lot more history to Ireland than we've been taught and stuff like that. We might see Ireland getting a bit more of the New York treatment now.
Oh, I would definitely
push people harder.
So this is my own opinion. You had COVID, you had the harshest, it was like a 5D chess game. On the one hand, they had to rescue the children and the trafficked people, right, out of those areas, whether it's New York, you know, in California, like all these different areas, right, Australia. But then if we're basing things on frequency and the satanic, we know that those were heavily spelled areas too, right? Where these people were very under spells. So now maybe you clear out the tunnels, you save the kids, you do all that. We already had the floods and all that kind of stuff. So now you're just left with pure deprogramming. So I 100% agree with you. It could still potentially get worse. And watching it is so, I don't want to say painful. It's actually annoying at this point. Like, it's not even painful for me. It's just annoying. So I'll tell you a story. So my boyfriend works in Brooklyn, in a part of Brooklyn that's very, it's very Pakistani. It's also a lot of Orthodox and Hasidic Jews, that whole area, like Coney Island area of New York. And the people that he works for in this area are Pakistani. And from what I gather, they've had a turnaround where they were anti-Trump and now they're pro-Trump. Okay. However, I went to work, went to his place of business. It's a store. I went there and I see the big sign on the door for this mayoral-elect guy, right? I can't even say his name, whatever the hell his name is.
Mandami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I stop right in front of the door. I'm like, excuse me. I was like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, I thought they were Trump supporters. I said, but why is this up here? And so my boyfriend's like, I can't. Like, I got to just please. I was like, all right, I'm not going to start in, but I probably will. And I'm realizing that, like, there is such a disconnect. How could you have a disconnect? It reminds me of when we had the election in 2016 with Hillary versus Trump. And there were all these people that I was like friends with because the kids went to school together, so they weren't really friends, but we did things together with the kids. And I would literally sit down with these people and I would literally say to them, I'm looking at how you live your life. You live in such a more reserved way than I do. You go to church every Sunday. Your kids aren't allowed to have cell phones. Like, I am so much more liberal than you in those ways. And yet you are aligning yourself with a candidate who goes against all those virtues that you have. Have you thought about this? And they were like, oh yeah, no, I didn't. They were perplexed. Like, they were really perplexed. Like, they couldn't put it together. Okay. So it's the same thing now. Just because you have the similarity with the religion that you both are part of, or background and ethnicity or whatever it is, and your values now have changed to one of, let's just say, MAGA or whatever, you don't see the disconnect in a communist? I just, what goes through people's heads? Is it the spell? Is it, and these are relatively smart people. I wouldn't say like they just, they run businesses, they have employees, they have to keep track of inventory. You have to have somewhat of a brain to do all that, right? What goes through their heads? Is it just, you look like me? We look alike. Or we follow the same religion. What is it that keeps these people from realizing that there is a whole psyop going on?
Well, they just don't do anything. I mean, some people vote just because it's a woman. Some people.
Yes, one. What do they call that? One issue voters. Oh, abortion.
Yeah. And they don't look into anything else. And don't forget, Mandan is coming in, and because a lot of time, isn't there, they hide communism behind socialism, but I think he's been caught out. He's people are seeing what he's saying, I mean, Trump's already said if he gets in, we'll be getting him out of there and things like that anyway. I've got no doubt. But
yeah, and I don't even think it's real. That's my own opinion. I don't even think but wait, what's the alternative? Wait, here's the other thing. So what's the alternative? Andrew Cuomo. I mean, okay, you do have Curtis Sliwa, who's part of the Guardian Angels, and he's running, Republican, but it's so ridiculous. Has anyone said, what in the fuck is going on? Who put these people on the ballot? You got a guy who murders people and God knows what else. And then you got this lunatic. Like, they're just like, oh my God, who am I going to vote for? It's election. Like, I don't know where to go with that. I don't know where to go. Thank God I don't live in the city, so I don't vote.
Maybe it's so ridiculous.
Right.
On purpose. Because the more outrageous it is, right?
But are they still not getting it?
Well, they're going to have to be pushed a bit further then, maybe, aren't they? Is Mandami going to come in, right, and then put out some absolutely outrageous laws down or whatever to make people then go, what the fuck? He's
or will Cuomo get back in? Or will Cuomo get back in? Again.
Yeah, but Cuomo, right? And that's the elder one, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Is it Andrew, isn't it? What's the other one? Chris, is it?
Chris.
Who's the user? Right. Andrew Cuomo. We all saw the videos and the images of him years ago with that white t-shirt on, with blatant nipple clamps or whatever, piercings and all that in here, sticking out of his shirt. Right. That man capitulated a long time ago. That man we're seeing now, is it that man who capitulated?
No.
Is it someone else? Is it being done? If you've got a mate, right, who's sitting next to you on the sofa, right, and you go, and he's got his, or just sitting there like that, and he's got a wasp nest next to him or something like that, and he's just going like that, and there's a wasp comes out. Do you know what I mean? And, oh, they're all right, and all that, and he's going to stoke it a bit harder and harder. It's only when all them wasps come out and attack him, right, that he legs it and thinks, fucking hell, maybe I shouldn't have put that stick in that hole. Right? This is what needs to happen with people. If they vote in any of those and then they come out with this dictatorial sort of like set of plans and things like that, people are going to go, oh, we've made the wrong mistake. Labour in this country, all the Labour voters that voted in Keir Starmer were going, he's going to save the NHS and all that, and all us clued up people were going, he fucking ain't. Do you know what I mean? And now you cannot find a Labour voter anywhere. They certainly aren't posting about it on social media. Right? They've all gone in, home and disappearing in that hedge. Right?
But like, okay, so, but where are all the groups? You know what I mean? Like here in New York, where are all the groups? Where are all the groups coming out and saying, we don't want this guy how did this guy get on the ballot? How did this guy get on the ballot? All these groups, the women's group, the this, right? Because after all, he's not a murderer. He was just, a sex, whatever they call that. He was being a sex offender or being, I forgot the word I'm looking for, in the workplace. I can't think of the word. Where are they? Where are they with like, oh my God, we can't have him on the ballot. He's been so offensive to women. Like, where are all these people that supposedly have so many issues with Trump saying the word pussy? Oh my God, they have but they're not offended that this guy, did this. Like, where are they?
Well, these people, that meme and that sweating guy, he doesn't know which button to press. That is fucking where they are, right? Because just use that for an example. If they go against Cuomo, and are they both running on the same Democratic platform?
Wait, what?
They're both Democrats, aren't they?
I'm gonna look that up.
Right.
I was gonna put me. Go ahead. You keep
talking. Stage, and this is what happens with these people. At some stage, they're going to have to see Trump, right, as, if they denounce any of these candidates, it's sort of like saying, actually, we prefer what Trump's doing, right? So they're sweating with these two buttons at the moment in all sorts of different circumstances about it. Even this, people wanting a Middle Eastern peace deal to fail because they hate Trump.
Right.
What is fucking wrong with them?
I know. But
there you go. Look, whether we're going to be judged standing in front of God or something, or whether people are going to get an awakening or a realization or something like that, everyone's going to have a precipice moment on their own, right, of whether they're pushed to the truth or whether they have to admit it to themselves that they were wrong.
Right.
And you and I, even though we've truthed, we've had to change our perspective on things over this 5, 6, 7, 8 years. We've been looking into all these things because we've learned something else that's new. Some of these people we used to champion at the start, we think, oh, maybe you're a bit of a fucking wrong un now.
Yep.
But that's what this learning curve is all about. Trump, right? Why do people warm to Trump? Because Trump is pretty much, and I don't even like calling him a politician, right?
No.
The only politician that has stood his ground. Because all these other fuckers, right? They twist and turn. It's like if they see the public are rising up against a policy that they were pushing, they'll do the other. They'll change their opinion.
Right.
Trump doesn't do that. He tells you what we're doing. If you
don't
like
unapologetically. Right. So you got three things going on here. You got the Republican is Curtis Lewa, and then the Democrat. Excuse me. Sorry. The Democrat is what's his face, Mandani, and then Cuomo's running as independent.
Right. So have you looked through any of their policies then?
Well, I mean, I've always liked Curtis Lewa, and he made a run a couple.
He's the Republican candidate.
He's a Republican candidate. Do you remember years back in the day they had the what the hell was he? The Guardian Angels, and they would ride the subways.
Oh, yeah, I remember you mentioned.
He was like the head of that. That was like his organization, and he had people. And then he was involved. He had a radio station for a radio show for a very long time, and so he's running on the Republican ticket. But you got to see the commercials. Like the commercials are so annoying. They have like an old woman.
How'd you spell his surname? Sliwa.
SLIWA.
Yeah, yeah, recognize him straight away.
Yeah, and so there's this one commercial that's on all the time. It comes on YouTube. I don't watch regular TV, but it's like, I've been a lifelong Republican, and Curtis, come on, I just can't give it up. I can't vote for you, and I'm just, I mean, it's so ridiculous. But I hope maybe people are saying maybe the city will rebel quietly. Nobody's making a big deal, and maybe quietly they're going to say we don't want these two.
Well, don't forget as well.
What's that?
Don't forget as well that I don't know what the media's like in New York and which stations they listen to and stuff, but they're still pushing out the fact that more people are Democrats than Republicans and all this sorts of thing, and the lies and all this sorts of stuff. But when Trump did that thing, whatever it was, at Madison Square Garden or something like that,
he did the garden, and he did out here in
thousands of patriots out in the street, all
yeah.
wearing MAGA hats, waving flags and stuff like that. And there wasn't any Antifa, or there wasn't any of these anti-Trump haters there and stuff like that, which said to a lot of us that even places like New York and are predominantly red.
Yeah.
But it's just
maybe people, but I got to tell you, there's still the factor. I run into them all the time, the anti-Trumper people. And there's still a lot of them here, but I do think, depending on the pockets in New York, like New York City traditionally is more liberal and Democrat. Now, that might have changed. You know what I'm saying? That might have changed. They may have a lot more data, meaning the white hats, on all this than you and I could even speculate on. And perhaps that's why they broke the ticket. They made one a Democrat, one an independent, and one a Republican, so that they could really gauge the stupidity level and the awakened level. It'll be interesting.
I totally agree.
But at the end of the day, I don't live in the city limits, so I don't really vote. I don't vote in that election, so I'll just be an interested spectator.
Well, that's what I am in a lot of it. Yeah, it's just like I say. I'm excited. I'm comfy. I do believe it's got to get worse. I mean, let me say to you this, right? If we are going to get some sort of scare event, precipice moment, and a near-death experience, which might all be the same thing, how are we going to get there from now? What more has got to happen to get us to that moment? It's got to get worse, hasn't it?
It does.
In certain places, it's got to get a lot worse. I mean, even Trump yesterday said, didn't he? Right, we're starting up the nuclear program again, or something, didn't he? About nuclear weapons and stuff, because someone else said they were doing it, so we're doing it. It's just, look, I believe 100% that Xi, Putin, Trump, they're all working behind the scenes. We've been told Q drop 140, I think. What if Russia, China, and others are working with POTUS to eliminate New World Order? And they are. But are we going to see? I don't think Russia's going to go to war with China, and China's going to go to war with Russia and things like that. But we might see some sort of NATO escalation for the in the movie. We might see. We haven't had. I mean, Trump's just made another peace deal, haven't he, with Cambodia and Thailand? He was over there. I posted on my Facebook another peace deal, Cambodia and Thailand. What is this fucking racist going to get up to next? Do you know what I mean? Trump just going around making peace deals everywhere. We haven't had Ukraine publicly, Russia peace deal, even though we think there's so much more going on behind the scenes to that. And most of the stuff that's been pumped out has not actually happened. And, lots of these things. But yeah, you know, are we going to see a nuclear standoff? You know, like the Bay of Pigs. That's what Ep7 says, doesn't it? Another Cuba?
Yeah,
that was the Bay of Pigs.
that's going to scare the living shit out of.
Yeah, you know, that's what we might have to see. If that happens, I should be pouring myself a glass of wine and enjoying the show. I have got some popcorn. I've had to get some new popcorn because the old stuff I had. And in fact, I've had to do.
We're gonna have a watch party. We're gonna just have to all have a watch party with lots of popcorn.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine anything at this point that would scare me.
No.
And I could think of a lot of things. And again, one of my potential theories is that the near-death experience is the EBS, which literally causes mass.
Say that, yeah.
You know, like, oh my God, like just a mass cognitive dissonance in people.
I mean, that is my ultimate dream in this. I know about JFK Jr. walking out and these sorts of things and a bum and perk what, but the EBS going off, everyone in a proper lockdown, yeah, this 8-hour movie playing on repeat for 10 days of darkness, and Trump tweeting, my fellow Americans, the storm is upon us. God bless. If he does it or whatever.
You know, there were different schools of thought. Like, okay, this goes back over a year. But like, I remember like Simon Parks was saying that he didn't think that was the EBS was going to happen.
No.
And then we're hearing more about it now, right? We're seeing people talk about it and things coming out.
Well, so many people now are talking about the Insurrection Act, and it is coming. You pretty much every show you listen to, and Absolute 76 has wrote an amazing Substack on that, which I share with people. I posted it again today in my Telegram channel. Look, the troops are in place.
Yes, that's the key.
He's got them all there. We thought this was happening 4 years ago, and the Biden inauguration, and the military coming in, and the National Guard in DC, and
then as non-normies, we all had like nervous breakdowns because we were like, what the hell is going on? We've been waiting
for a few months after that. It was like, what the fuck? Trump got on that plane. I guess we better go. Do you know what I mean? We shall be back in some form and all that. And we're thinking, what? But then he flew off on Air Force One with the football.
Right.
Biden had to get a fucking private jet or whatever it was.
I got to be honest, none of it made sense to me. And then when I saw the soldiers turning their back, the military turn, right, nothing was making sense to me. But it took me a little while to process because I had this vision. My vision was they were all going to come in and they were going to scoop them all up right during the inauguration and put them like that was what I was interpreting from, you know, what was going to happen. And when it didn't happen, I was so like dumbfounded. I don't even want to say mad. I was just like, what? But then, so I think that the white hats in this whole thing, they were like, all right, we got a lot planned for the normies, but the awakened are going to get it right there because they're expecting something different.
Well, we're all banging on about a Scooby-Doo ending and pulling Biden's mask off and the military coming down and all this sorts of stuff. Maybe they were teaching us a lesson as well.
Yeah, maybe.
You cannot just go what we say on the cue board and things like that because that was not the point of it. And we all learned, and it was a few months, and I can't think when it started, but when Patel Patriot came out and now known as John Herald and started going into everything about devolution.
That was a game changer.
And that was it. And we all started re-engaging again. Oh my God, this is what's happening. You know, Trump saying about, I've got all these clips, you know, where's all my medium assets of Trump?
You know what calmed me down? Like Patel Patriot explained it to me in a very logical way. But what calmed me down during that whole time was just seeing people like Robert David Steele and even Steve Pajenik. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting it now. All right, calm down. We're gonna have to be sitting here for a while. We're not getting our popcorn out just yet, but it's just right around the corner.
You're not in a rush to go anywhere, are you? You're not in a rush to go anywhere today, are you?
Today? No, I have time.
Yeah, plenty. Well, I'll show you two little quick videos of Trump.
Ep7. I said, let me think about it. Then after thinking for about 2 seconds, I said, okay. You know, that means 47, I'm 47. So I'm 45, 46, and 47, yeah, if you think about it. I just don't want the credit for 46.
There's one.
And one of the beautiful things of the pause, if there is such a thing as a beautiful thing, but one of the important factors of the pause is that we see how bad they've done. So we will be able to do it properly, and it will be much easier. Everybody will agree with us because everybody sees what a bad job has been done during this 2-year period, and it will be a 4-year period. Everybody sees that. It will be much easier for us to do what has to be done.
Yeah.
He's telling you there that the people had to witness the fucking Biden show, right? And I'll just play that Steve Pajenik video as well, because this is one of my favourites, isn't it? And this was great. And this
is the flower shirt one?
Yeah. This was. I've got these stored. What I do when I play them on the show, I'll take them out and put other ones in and stuff like that. But there's certain ones I keep. But yeah, this wasn't this soon after the 2020 election. This came. It
was so soon. I mean, those days just jumbled together for me. But it literally felt like a day or two. It was like right away because he had to. They had to calm at least us, because we were going to be the messengers to the Trump supporters who had no clue. You know what I mean? We had a clue a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Right, here we go. 3 minutes.
Let me just say again what I said in 2016. There are honorable members of our intelligence, military, and civilian community in the government who understood exactly how corrupt Biden and the Democratic machinery was, and will be. This is really a sting operation. Contrary to what everybody else said, Trump knew this was happening. Eric knew this was happening and warned the public. I knew this was happening. However, I could not say anything about it. What happened was we watermarked every ballot with what's called the QFS blockchain encryption code. In other words, we know pretty well where every ballot is, where it went, and who has it. So this is not a stolen election. On the contrary, we reversed the entire game of war along the lines of Sun Tzu, the art of war. And Trump was brilliant and still is brilliant at it. In the art of the war, you pull back, allow your enemy to make all the mistakes that they are making, manipulate the situation, expose them, and then come in for the final killing. And that's what's happening now. None of this was unexpected. The genius of Trump is that he is able to pull back at any point and manipulate the opponent without the opponent ever realizing. And he said, I will use common sense or my intelligence, i.e. both literal and figurative intelligence. What was not announced was that we watermarked all the ballots with what I said, QFS blockchain, which is a very hard encryption code to break. And the second thing is we sent probably 20,000 or more National Guards 48 hours ago. None of it was reported, and I thank the press for not reporting it and others. So what in fact is happening is you're seeing a sophisticated sting operation that was initiated by Trump. I'm just a lowly peasant in this game, and honestly, I was informed that I could say something about it today, only last night. This is not a surprise here. This is the biggest sting operation probably in our country that we've ever had. To use it in terms of counting, knowing which ones were fake, which ones were not, it's a very sophisticated code. So if you just throw them away, these are cyber communication implementations that we have the code for. We know exactly what was thrown away. We know exactly what was placed. We know exactly who has it, and we know exactly where it went. I can't go any further than that.
Yeah, brilliant. And don't forget, you know, Trump was talking about Space Force and all these sorts of things. And I haven't got the details of this now, but wasn't there was a satellite or a spacecraft that went up into orbit, right? And it went up before the 2020 election, I think, and it might have come down after the midterms. I mean, even people were saying, I think it was up for 890 days or something like that, which is a 17. Do you know what I mean? All these sort of things.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of, I haven't got the details now, I can't remember them, but a lot of discussion. This was, and they were monitoring everything. When I heard that about,
yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Marked the ballots, I was dancing.
Yeah, I was too. I had like one after the next. I was just texting every single person with that video. I'm like, calm down. Just, you got to understand what's going on. Like, it was like an instant click when I saw that. And I felt like you, it was like a dance moment. I was telling everyone. Now, some people like, you know, ye of little faith. They're like, well, I don't know. And I was like, I can't deal with that person. And I was just like going person to just say, relax. This is totally, we got this. They got this.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, I was going to say to you right at the start, and I forgot, but I know it's really great, you know, us discussing the news and all that, but if people followed our Telegram channels and stuff like that, you'd see all this information anyway as it happens. But potentially next week, or even better, because there's so much going on and we've got so much to discuss. I like it like this on a Thursday anyway. Do you want to do an extra show in there somewhere? And we can sort of go through that Substack I wrote a bit, but just talk about Q and devolution. And we can start off by playing Joe M Plans to Save the World, and think about any other little videos you want to play through it and stuff, and we'll talk about this, but we'll just do a whole show on that. I've got a couple of videos as well to play of John Herald just talking about devolution, conspiracy fact versus conspiracy theory, and all these things that have been going on. And I'm sure we could, and I even want to play that Shia LaBeouf video. Have you seen that? Capture the Flag.
I'm trying to remember.
Basically, Shia LaBeouf, you know who that is. That's an actor, right? Yeah. He was one of these. He will not divide us, right? He basically. Should I play it now? Right.
Yeah, play it.
Right. What happened was, I'll have to find it, and I think that's in my StreamYard stuff.
You know, it could almost be like, for lack of a better word, maybe the show is like a throwback Thursday, remember when, and we go through the Substack and all that stuff, like as part of that show. Because, and you know, I just want to say one more thing about that. It's very interesting how Steve said in that video, I was only told last night, and I was asked, it was like, that was almost like our little gift, right? Don't you feel it was like a gift to us, all the people that were ready to throw themselves out windows, and they gave us enough time to suffer. Think about it. They did let us suffer a little bit, and then came back with that. And then I remember the Robert David Steele video was within another day or two.
Yeah, let me just, do you know what? I'm just going to find this on YouTube.
Sure.
Yeah, so I thought that'd be really good. And if we could do an extra show one week, he will not divide us. Right, there it is there. Now this is a YouTube video. Basically what happened was Shia LaBeouf, right, put a webcam up, I think it was in New York or something like that, on a wall, and he had people there, and he was standing there himself, basically protested all day that he will not divide us. He was part of this anti-Trump movement and stuff like that. Anyway, all these anons on 8tune and stuff like that were giving him loads of crap, and they were getting involved in his feeds and stuff like that. Something happened. Anyway, he decided, right, that he was going to get one up on the anons and go and put a flag up somewhere where no one knew where it was, and it was a 24-hour live feed, and no one would be able to do anything about it. Anyway, this is what I send to people when Q started coming out. You've got these autists all around the planet, right? Well, you know, if you see Trump post a picture of a chess, right, board or something like that with pieces on it, all the chess fags come in. They start going through the moves and, you know, and all this stuff and what it means and all these sorts of things. And
Right.
you've got astronomers and all these sorts of things. This is what they did too. And this is, I told you, didn't I? I spent like the first 6 months of when I was really watching Q and stuff like that, side-eyeing it, not falling for it, not believing it. I wanted nods and app tips and proofs and stuff like that. Right. And it was all these anons that were investigating it, and they couldn't prove it on. They would go and give us a 1 minute delta then, or a 1 second delta, or show us a picture of this and say tippy top, you know, all these sorts of things we know and love. But this is excellent.
Has changed. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. Nanomachines inside their bodies enhance and regulate their ability.
After defeat on the battlefields of New York and New Mexico, Shire headed to a new hidden location. No more chanting or interaction. This latest exhibit would just be a flag waving arrogantly in front of a camera. There were no landmarks, no scenery, no clues at all to its whereabouts. It would be impossible to find, and nothing could stop the broadcast. Checkmate. And this would allow Shire to act smug for the next 4 to 8 years. That is, unless Pol's agents could find a way to track it down. Challenge accepted. It was to be the greatest game of capture the flag ever. Pol began organizing. They set about gathering all the information they could on the local environment, trying to match up cloud, wind patterns, and ambient noise. Because it was a live stream, they could match the time of sunset to quickly discern that the flag was somewhere in the Eastern time zone. That's 2/3 of the country ruled out in one move. Others began looking into intel about Shire's whereabouts, as it was highly likely that he was present for the raising of the flag itself. As time went on, distinct noises could be heard in the background, the croaking of frogs, suggesting water nearby. Then, the second big break, in the distance, just faintly, 2 jet streams. Pol quickly opened a live feed of all of the air traffic across the eastern seaboard, but identifying these 2 lines, amongst all of this, would be a challenge. Meanwhile, social media trackers found this post. At a small town diner in Tennessee, this waitress couldn't help but brag about her run-in with Shire. It was another big break. TMZ also reported that Shire had been seen fly fishing in the area. The search was closing in on Greenville, Tennessee. The hunt was moving much faster now. According to the aviation team, 2 more planes would soon be flying overhead. If they could be spotted on the live stream, Pol would have confirmation. Bingo. To further narrow down the search area, the aviation team started charting all of the flight paths of spotted planes. But they still needed more information. And as day turned to night, they got it. Pol's astronomy division used the constellations to narrow down the angle and rough position of the camera. With this, the flight paths, and some advanced trigonometry, the candidate area had been reduced way down. Further confirmation from weather satellites backed up the claim as an agent was dispatched to the scene. As he drew close, he started honking the horn, while viewers of the live stream gave feedback as it got louder. A few minutes later, target sighted. But he couldn't just head in during broad daylight and risk Shire's wrath. Instead, he had to wait for the cloak of night. In the meanwhile, Paul got to work devising an infiltration strategy. A few hours later, the flag came down, and a MAGA hat and shirt went up. It was a beautiful moment, and it all took place on the live stream. Pol's Central Intelligence Agency had clocked Windu Season 3 in 38 hours and 14 minutes, and poor Shire was divided for a third time. Could he ever recover? Could this be the end? Well, as I was editing this video...
See, that's brilliant. That's another thing that just, there were so many people looking into this, right? People think, oh, you follow Q, you don't know nothing about it. There are millions of people that dig into this from every angle around the globe, you know, and what they did there, finding that flag in the middle of nowhere in 37 hours, is pretty special, isn't it, really? You're muted.
Sorry. I got to tell you, that was great. That was a great one.
There's another one after that, I think, as well. He tried to do something else. I've watched another video. Yeah, he had, I think he had one just in a room facing a wall, a white wall and stuff. And I got that as well. But yeah, it's amazing.
These things are the things that like kept us going, you know?
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe this show we could do something like throwback. Well, if we do it on a Thursday, but if you want to do a different day, but we could just say examining the Sting or something like that, and how well these things fit into the place.
Yeah, well, just, you know, there's still many people, even in the truth movement, that don't get into Q, that don't watch enough information to understand, and don't see these things we see that go, oh my God, you know, see all these people walking about in boots and ankle monitors, and they forget everything we've seen, you know. And even just doing a show just to anyone that, I mean, reading my Substack's great, but we could just skate through that. But think about it for the next week or two, and think of any video you can think, and we'll get it, and I'll put them all in one thing, and we'll just watch them all.
Oh, that would be so great. All right, yeah, let's plan that next week. I have a crazy week next week, and we have a few things on our calendar, but the week of I guess it's the 10th, 11th. I'm not sure. I think the Tuesdays. Maybe we could do it that Wednesday, the 12th.
Yeah, whatever's fine with me.
I'm looking right now just to see, because I'll block that off, and then so that would be the 12th is a Wednesday. Yeah, that would be great. We could call Way Back Wednesday. Deep dive into the Sting or something like that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I have to run some errands now. It's really coming down and raining.
Yeah.
But I have to go and get a few things, and then I'm going to come back and hunker down.
Yeah, well, that's good. Like I say, I know people enjoy watching this, but
I hope so. Yeah.
If you do want to keep up to date on a regular basis, an hourly basis, Telegram is the place to be. It's by far the best platform. Well, Twitter's coming back, isn't it? And I find, you know, I get no engagement on Twitter whatsoever.
I don't either, really.
75% of my followers and all that sort of stuff. And I've come back, but Twitter's still great for a search tool and stuff. And I'm going to try and find you that nurse audio clip now. Yeah. Definitely in my Telegram somewhere. You know, you've only got to put in Telegram is such a good thing to search on.
It's like, you know what I use Telegram a lot for too? I mean, aside from the fact that I have a channel, like, just in case anybody isn't aware, like my channel is Awakened Patriots of Long Island on Telegram, and yours is?
Just remember to put the scroll on. It's just going across the screen now. There's yours.
Yeah, yeah. But what I was going to say, I love Telegram. Whenever somebody tells me they have an ailment or a medical issue, I go on Telegram. That is where I go. I don't Google. I don't do any of this other nonsense. I go on Telegram. I find all the important people that are on there giving naturopathic advice, homemade remedies for things. And it's just such a great source for, among other things. I use that all the time.
Yeah. Have you got 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Right. Let me just show you. Right now, these are all the channels I follow. I've got a lot of stuff there. I've got 84 archived channels and chats and stuff. But if you want to search for anything, like say Nancy Pelosi, so you just type in Pelosi and you put it in there, and these are the Pelosi channels. But every post that has Pelosi in it is here, and it tells you when it's posted Friday, and it goes back to, these will go back to 2021 and stuff like that. But if you want to search in any particular group, you can find Stu's News channel, but click the different search there and type in Pelosi. And every post I've ever made about it will come up. So you can search in every individual group. So if you know you've seen a post somewhere and I think, I'm sure they posted it, go into that person's group and find it. But like you said, I made a Stu's News Doctors Helpline, right? It's only got some cent because it's private, right? At the start, there's a great little picture there. I'm not a science expert. Yeah, and I'm not. I made that important. I'm not a doctor. I cannot give anyone medical information, but, and this is what I do, since, when was that? October the 28th, 2021, any medical information I have found, right, and this is going to doctors, protocols, writing letters about vaccine refusal. There's about 117 posts in here, shall we say. There is so much information in there of all the doctors and all these podcasts that have just talked about protocols and detoxes and, all these sorts of things, that if anyone wants that, ask me and you can go in it. There is a lot of information in there. And like I say, Telegram is absolutely brilliant place to be. It is our Truthers Reference Library.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is, because everything in there, and it's funny, that everything you can actually look for. So like when we were talking before about whether or not it was a white hat operation or not, it's funny, you can find all this stuff, like you go to YouTube looking for different videos. It's like that video cannot be found, if it's been taken down.
Oh, exactly. Definitely. Yeah. Right. Okay, then. Well, I will see you tomorrow on the
marathon. Yeah.
And yeah, that'd be good. So if you can get any links to that at all to send to me, because once I finish this out, I can now set up a live stream for that.
Okay.
I don't know if I've done it on YouTube yet.
Well, but I think we sent everything out in an email that didn't we? Or is that for just Rumble?
No, that was the screen. Yeah, that was the screenshots for it. I just need to know. Well, I don't need to know anything. What I do need to know is the exact time and the difference for me, because you and I are an hour skew whiffed at the moment, aren't we now? So yes. I would have put that. Fine. What time is it there?
Right now, it's 1:46 in the afternoon.
Right, so it's
6 hours, right?
No, 4.
Oh, 4.
Because it's 5:46 here.
Oh, because you turned back. That's right. Yeah. We didn't turn back. So it's 4 hours. Okay. So your time, you want me to look it up again? I'll look that up. I think you're.
So it's 4 hours. Starting at 11, are you?
What's that?
You're starting at 11.
11 Eastern.
Right, so that'll be 3 p.m. UK, and I will be on at 3:50 by the sounds of that.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay. Yep.
Right,
sounds
I'm going to set my live stream up for 3 then. So that's good, actually, because my live stream would have been 2 hours late, and I would have been an hour and 10 minutes late.
We've been like, where's Stu? He stood us up. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter if I'm an hour early now, does it? I'm glad
the early is okay.
No, that's perfect. All right, Elisa.
Yes, Stu, this was great. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
All right, bye.
Bye. Oh, I haven't put an outro video on. Should I set an outro video on for some people?
Oh, yeah.
Let's just find one. How long have you got?
Well, I probably like 5 minutes. I don't know how long the outro is.
Have you got 7 minutes?
I got 7 minutes, of course.
Have you ever heard of Joey B. Tunes?
You know, I don't know, but if I saw it, I might have seen it.
Joey B. Tunes, basically you go, oh my God, look at this one, right? And he basically talks about what we're talking about.
Really?
These people that want to be famous, and this TikTok craze of numptiness and what they're doing, basically. But yeah, this should make you laugh.
Okay.
Where we go one, we go all. Yeah. See you later.
For those that don't know, TikTok is a place where people with no talent get famous for doing things nearly anyone in the world can do at any given time.
Who in the hell put the muffins in the freezer?
Things like dancing in your living room, lip syncing to music, and flapping your ass cheeks together. Hilarious. I'm on the edge of my seat. Clever. This is only going to get worse, isn't it? Now that must be what you keep your bath salts in. Is this you after you crush them up and shove them up your ass? You ever wonder who has the most followers on TikTok? It's a random girl who takes photos of herself in the mirror. Yeah, 120 million followers. The most followed person on the entire platform. Meanwhile, this type of talent's living in a subway. How does she do it, folks? I mean, now I understand why so many people are having a hard time containing themselves in the comments. This is the video that put me over the edge. I couldn't believe it. I called everyone I knew. Another carousel of dingleberries. Is this all these people do all day?
And then you come here and then come like this.
I mean, look at this. Look at the planning that goes into this.
Boom. Yeah, and then when you hit it again, yeah, you can either do this or I go like this. You do this like when I clap. We gotta do the same thing. All right.
I can only imagine what's going on upstairs. Here's a girl covering one of the most difficult guitar solos ever created. Probably took her over a year to learn. $482 subscribers. Guy wakes up one day and eats a strawberry. 70 million views. 10.9 million subscribers. I mean, will anything of value or inspiration ever trend? Or are we just going to keep mimicking people who do things anyone can do and continue to watch each other do it? You know, like stretching your mouth with your finger. Yeah, this is literally a trend. Another groundbreaker from Generation Zero. This is what goes on in the rec room of a nut house, and this is what society considers influential. There's nurses that used to monitor this type of behavior. Now we know why Aunt Peggy isn't allowed to see her nieces and nephews.
Fine, I guess you are my little PogChamp. Come here.
Imagine looking for a house in this neighborhood and you drive past this.
Fine, I guess you are my little PogChamp. Come here.
The other side of the street's got some sort of Addams Family Cabbage Patch Kid sitting in the driveway.
Cause I'm not that bitch that need $40. Yup, I got my own job. Yup, I got my own car. Yup, I pay my own bills. Yup, I'm that bitch.
Oh yeah? You look like Betty Boop and Sid from Toy Story's illegitimate love child to me.
PSA to all the lesbians.
May I be the exception? Come on, let me be the exception.
You're the reason why they're lesbians. Ugh.
I love my daddy, my superhero.
What a tribute. His dad must be so proud. What a feeling it must be to see your son flailing around on a bed like an injured bird. The hell is this?
All this time, I'm still into you.
That's it. That's the video. Just the phone in her mouth. 24 million followers. And an entire account of videos of her doing absolutely nothing in them. That's all it takes, folks. You want to be famous? Do nothing. The least amount of effort you put into anything, the more this generation will celebrate and admire you. Imagine if the grid shut down. Within a week, these people would be holding each other on the floor of their living room crying. These people would die without the internet.
I should be over all the butterflies.
Now, do you see how stupid it sounds to pretend this is normal human behavior? You know there's something wrong with our culture when this type of stuff gets more attention than someone like this who can paint portraits with their mouth. Where's the Netflix show of people like this who live in a house and create things? No, instead we have the hype house.
I've been on my single boy shit.
Imagine driving around with your family looking for a house and you see this atrocity. Look at these kids. They act like they're training for a UFC fight. I could only imagine what's going on inside. Why did I ask? Looks like some sort of fertility exercise. Jesus, these are going to be people's grandmothers someday. What's this?
I got my ticket for the long way round. Too bad the whiskey.
Oh, God. What was that? Sounded like she farted at the end and started crying.
I got my ticket for the long way round.
I got my ticket for the lonely van?
Too bad the whiskey.
Then she farts and all hell breaks loose. Why would you upload this? I mean, how are you going to get a job after this circulates? Or you could be like this one and embrace your loose bowels.
I film all of my fart videos by myself. I set up the lighting, the camera, the mic, everything by myself. This is crucial for capturing all those high notes.
See, she made a career out of it. No shame in her game.
My farts get so loud, sometimes I'll blow out the mic. Get ready for this one.
See, folks, we're done. We're finished. We've lost all dignity to our species.
So what do I need you for? Not a damn thing. Now go on somewhere with all that. And that's on who? That's on Mary Had a Little Lamb.